process to be as hassle-free as possible.
No more sifting through piles of paperwork or spending hours at an office. With Prosperity Tax Service, you can handle your taxes from the comfort of your own home.
Your financial data is in safe hands with us through our secure and user-friendly customer portal at prosperitytax.com. It's your one-stop shop for all things tax-related. Log in anytime, from anywhere, whether it's from your couch or on the go.
We are experienced tax professionals, well-versed in handling a variety of tax situations. Receive genuine assistance and competitive pricing from real tax professionals who've seen it all.
We're marking 2 decades as a community-based enterprise here in Waco, Texas. So call us at 254-235-5662 or log on to www.prosperitytax.com. Thanks, guys.
Lighthouse Streaming, a full-scale media agency and your go-to source for all things audio and video. Is your church long overdue for audio and video upgrades? Call Lighthouse Streaming for a free consultation. Does your corporate or church event need audio or video production? Don't stress. Call the guys at Lighthouse Streaming. In business since 2017, Lighthouse Streaming has produced hundreds of live events and completed dozens of church and venue installations. Whatever your AV needs are, Lighthouse Streaming has you covered. Give them a call at 254-252-4206. That's 254-252-4206. Or go to lighthousestreaming.com and set up your free consultation.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back into Centex Primetime. I am your host, Jalen Gillis, getting ready to take you through the primetime topics in sports, not just in the Central Texas area, but from all around the nation. Happy Friday to everybody out there today as we're here on this Good Friday, end of the week. A lot of you guys just got done finishing out your 40-hour work weeks. You're clocking out. You're headed towards your weekend. Want to thank you guys for tuning in with us today on Centex Primetime. Want to make sure you guys go over to the YouTube, Centex Sports Network / Centex Sports TV over on YouTube. Jump on there. You can hit the subscribe button. You can also click the bell so you can get notified when we go live here 5 to 7 p.m. weekdays right here on Centex Sports Network. Also, we're live on Facebook, Centex Sports Network. Also live on Twitter and Instagram. If you go to Centex Sports TV on both of those platforms, you will see us on there. We go live there. Like I said, weekdays 5 to 7 p.m. right here on Centex Sports Network. Well, folks, like I said, it's the end of the week. It's Friday, so we'll have a little bit of fun up here today on the show. And, man, do we got plenty to talk about here today on the show, as there's been a lot of things going on in the sports world. We've had another great game from LeBron and the Lakers, the new-look Lakers with Luka out there. Overtime victory against the New York Knicks. Primetime television on a Thursday night. This is the kind of old NBA stuff that I miss. But, obviously, other headlines were made at the game, too. We've got a little bit of Stephen A. versus LeBron James going on the sideline, courtside. He had to go over there and check his temperature a little bit, see what Stephen A. was talking about. Folks, we're going to talk about all that here today. We're going to talk about NFL free agency, which looks like they're trying to take the storylines back from the NBA, as we've got plenty to talk about with NFL free agency, multiple players being cut, new players on the move. My Houston Texans made a move, went and got a trade. I'll tell you how I feel about that trade. Teams are positioning themselves for not only NFL free agency, but also positioning themselves for the draft as well. So we've got plenty to talk about with that. Joining me in here today for the first hour and joining in on the conversation, somebody you see here every single week, the play-by-play man for La Vega football here in Waco, Texas, Mr. Cedric Eaglehart in the building with us. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on with it, bro?
Man, nothing much, man. It's Friday. Feeling good. Just ready to get ready to talk about some of these topics, man. And what in the world is going on in the sports news? Because it's turning
It's
into
a lot going on, little brother.
we turning into I don't even know what. It kind of seemed like I'm on one of those politics channels or something with all the drama they got going on in the sports so far. But I want to start with what we were just talking about last night. Luka and the Lakers decided to come out there and play against the New York Knicks. And this is a really good game because the Lakers were losing majority of this game. They came on a fourth quarter comeback off the backs of Luka Doncic, off the backs of LeBron James. They come out there and they get a win on primetime television. And, you know, I started to think like, hey, this is what I remember of watching the NBA. Those Thursday night games, you're staying up late, trying to watch a really good game. It's probably a West Coast game. At that time, it was Kobe and the Lakers, probably taking on the Spurs, probably taking on the Celtics, the Phoenix Suns with Steve Nash and those guys. This reminded me of that. Two good teams, two big markets coming from opposite ends of the coast, meeting up on primetime television, and finally giving us a good game. There wasn't any of these blowouts we've been seeing on TV, these random. I mean, I get it, y'all. I know Wemby, nobody playing for him to get hurt, but can we take the Spurs off of TV? I'm tired of turning the TV on, and I see a Victor Wembanyama-less Spurs team losing by 25 points on national television.
And while you're taking them off, take Philadelphia off as well.
Please, I'm so glad you please take Philadelphia off. Embiid is out for the season. He was out for the season when the season started. Paul George might as well be out for the season. He's out for the podcast season, I guess, as well with him. So please take those two teams off. Finally got to turn on TV last night and seen a good game, and it was the New York Knicks and Los Angeles Lakers. Lakers winning overtime 113-109 in this game. Jalen Brunson was unstoppable for the Knicks. I'll just put it like that, especially in that second half, all the way up until he rolled his ankle with about a minute and some change left to go in that game. Rolled his ankle, hope he's okay. Probably be out for a couple of weeks, just look like a sprained ankle. He's definitely going to need time to rest. The playoffs are coming up, and we know Tibbs plays all his guys 45 minutes a game. So Jalen Brunson, this is much-needed rest that he'll be able to get as they get ready to make their playoff push. On the other side of that, the Los Angeles Lakers, LeBron James, 31 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists. Luka Doncic, 32 points, 12 assists, 7 boards. This is turning into one of the best duos in the league, if not the best duo in the league. The bench finally chipped in, and once they get this bench going, that's really going to unlock the Lakers even more. Dalton Connect, another good game at 11 points off the bench. Gabe Vincent made 4 threes. He was 4 for 4 on threes. It seemed like all 4 were in the last 3 minutes of the game in that game. They all were huge buckets that they needed in that game. Luka was kind of struggling from the field, 9 for 23, but he made timely shots. He made shots whenever they needed them, and he was able to distribute the ball with 12 assists out there as well. So the Lakers come out with another win. Said, what do you think about this game last night that we saw between the Lakers and the Knicks?
Yeah, obviously very entertaining ball game when it goes in overtime like that. And I think you're absolutely right. I think that now that Luka looks like he's healthy, that was the That was the Lakers' 8th straight win last night. And so if Luka is able to unlock these other players like Dalton Connect, like Rui Hachimura, like Gabe Vincent, then he and LeBron don't have to work so hard. They don't have to do everything, right?
Yeah.
Because that's a serviceable bench. It really is.
No, for sure.
But when you got these two guys playing at the top of their game, in my mind, there's no question. This is the best duo in the NBA right now.
You got to say it. I mean, everybody want to have their reservations of how would these guys play together. I already talked about Charles Barkley coming on and saying, I guarantee this isn't going to work. And obviously we know by now Charles has been on TV for 20 years. We all know Charles Barkley doesn't watch basketball. He watches the highlights of the game that's about to come on when he goes out there.
Yeah, anytime Charles Barkley guarantees you something, you already know what that's
we
about.
can take the opposite. We know for sure. We'll talk about some betting props later. You see Charles Barkley pick some betting props, take the under on whatever he took the over on. But yeah, we knew this duo would work out eventually. Did we think it would come together this quickly? I definitely didn't. But am I surprised that it came together this quickly? No, not at all. Look at the two guys we're talking about. We're talking about two of the smartest basketball players that are in the NBA right now. Luka Doncic, whose IQ is comparable to a LeBron James, who's been one of the smartest players in the league for his entire 22 years that he's been in the league.
Yeah,
so seeing those two guys together, this is what you expect out of that offense, man.
And if there were two guys who would ever figure out how to play together quickly, it'd be those two guys. But let's also give a little love to J.J. Redick because what Redick is doing as the head coach is he's watching his rotations. He's like, hey, are y'all good? If y'all good, then go.
Yeah.
And that is really all you have to say.
Man, and it definitely big ups to J.J. Redick, another guy that they thought, oh, he wouldn't do it. He only got this job because he had a podcast with LeBron. It's like, did he not play in the league for like 12, 13 years? Did we forget? Guess we forgot about that part. He was under Coach K up there in Duke. He was under Doc Rivers. He was under Stan Van Gundy. He all these great basketball minds, but he only got it because he had a podcast with LeBron. It's like, okay. Now the Lakers are sitting in second place in the West after they were 7th or 8th, I believe, before the Luka trade. They've jumped all the way up to second place in the West. And, I mean, I get it. OKC is OKC, and they're still my favorites to come out of the West. But, man, in a 7-game playoff series, it's going to be hard just to outthink these guys. Forget the what they can do on the defensive end, the offensive end. You got to be able to outthink these. By end of game one, both of those guys, 3, I guess I could say you've had J.J. Redick in there. They know all your plays. They know your sets. They know where you like to go on the floor already.
Yeah, but the one thing that I will say about the Lakers, this is maybe the only negative thing that I'm going to say about them, is, if you look at their point differential, they're only like a +2.
Yeah.
Whereas OKC is like a +12. Cleveland is like, same thing.
Yes.
So there's, even though they're hot, and even though they're going to make the playoffs, they don't have to worry about the play-in so much anymore. But you still got to find some way to get some stops on some of these better teams. You could, if you go into as the number 2 seed, you'll get by, Clippers and all these types, Rockets, all these squads. You'll get by that. But what happens when you go to play Denver and OKC?
Yeah,
Minnesota.
And those are the 2 teams that everybody knows about, that we all know about. Denver has been the Lakers' kryptonite for 4 or 5 years. Oklahoma City, I don't think anybody in the NBA is necessarily wanting to play them. Not saying that nobody can beat them, but nobody is excited about going into a series against OKC. They got shooters everywhere. Now they've added size with Hartenstein in there. They've just got Chet Holmgren back in there.
Right.
And SGA is a 6'6" point guard. So they got
SGA
size.
is probably your MVP.
He's got to be the MVP. He's averaging 32 points a game. They're 51-11. We're almost at the end of the season. These guys only got 11 losses. They're 51-11. Like you said, that point differential is huge. They're at 12.7. That's the biggest in the league. Like, come on, guys. They're blowing people out.
They are.
I watched OKC play my Rockets the other day, and it was just a disgrace defensively. And Rockets are one of the best defensive teams in the league. What he was doing, he made it look like he was playing against middle schoolers. He's scoring at ease against some of the top defenders in the league, the Amen Thompsons, the Dylan Brooks, the Fred Van Vliets, the Tari Eason. These are some of the best defenders in the league, and he's making it look extremely easy, and he's doing that to everybody, man. This OKC team is dangerous, but the Lakers, they're going to be a dangerous team moving forward. LeBron looks rejuvenated. Luka looks like he's finally starting to get his legs under him a little bit. So this Lakers team is poised to be able to make a run in the playoffs, like you said. I mean, they run into a Denver Nuggets. They run into OKC. I don't look at anybody else's favorites over the Lakers going into the Western Conference playoffs. So this is going to be a really fun playoffs as we're only about a month away.
I agree. This is definitely not a team that you can just overlook and say, well, you can't beat this. No, they can compete with anybody.
Anybody. Yeah, with those 2 guys, they're definitely able to compete with anybody on the floor. Like I alluded to earlier, folks, that wasn't the only headlines that came out of this game. We've all seen the comments the last couple of weeks. I think it kind of started with Channing Frye as he talked about some of the nostalgia of the old NBA is ruining the current viewing of this NBA. And I agreed with him to a certain extent on that point. I think we do take too long. And, I mean, Stephen A. has been one of the front guys that obviously, like I always say, I give props to Stephen A. He's at the top of what we do here, doing sports media. Stephen A. is the highest paid guy when it comes to that. So I'm always going to give him his props. Do I agree with a lot of things he says? No. But that's not for me to agree. I'm just giving props where credit is due. But Stephen A. has been kind of the catalyst of that. And then LeBron came out and said things about Anthony Edwards, because Anthony Edwards said, hey, I don't necessarily want to be the face of the league. Like, y'all trying to make me the face of the league. I don't necessarily just want to be the face of the league. So people gave him backlash for that. LeBron came out and said, I get exactly why he says that. All people do is, if you're the face of the league, is talk bleep about you, as he said, over and over and over every time somebody turns the TV on. And it's the truth. Every time you turn the TV on.
Constant criticism.
It's constant criticism. Yep. And at this point, there's always criticism. They always say, well, Magic Johnson had the criticism he had. They called him Tragic Johnson. Or Michael Jordan couldn't beat the Pistons. Yeah, but this is 24-hour news cycle.
Mhm.
Those things weren't out back then, as you know, said. That wasn't a thing where we just have 24-hour constant news cycle of sports. And with it being that, unfortunately, the hate outweighs the good parts that we talk about. I was looking back the other day, and they were talking about, I think it was a couple days ago, they were on there talking about the GOAT debate on First Take. Is it LeBron or is it Michael Jordan? I'm like, okay. Well, last night, SGA had 45. I think Giannis had 45 and 15. I can't remember I think Luka had another 30-something. Like, we're looking at all these guys around the league. I think Aaron Wiggins off the bench for OKC had like 40. And this is just one night in the NBA. Mm-hmm. And when we get on the biggest sports talking show the next morning, we're talking about LeBron versus Michael Jordan GOAT debate. Those are the issues within that. So that's kind of been brewing the last couple of weeks. On the sidelines, after a timeout, LeBron goes over to Stephen A., who's sitting courtside at the Knicks game. He's a known avid Knicks fan, so he's courtside at the Knicks and Lakers game. LeBron comes up to him, kind of looks at him for a little bit, and just says, hey, I'm only going to say this once. Don't talk about my son and any of this stuff, and just looks at Stephen A. and he walks off. Mm-hmm. That was the end of that. That's all he said. Of course, Stephen A. had some rebuttal this morning. He came on there and said, well, I never talked about Bronny, which is a lie. I never talked about Bronny, and I only talked about LeBron. I would never bring a kid into this.
He actually, I think at one point in time, he actually said Bronny is only LeBron should stop supporting Bronny because he's the only reason why Bronny's in the league.
Yes.
So yeah, he has been critical of Bronny, and let's be clear, Bronny's not a great player.
Yeah.
But LeBron didn't say Bronny is better than anybody else in the league. Yeah. He just said he can play with half of these guys.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all he said.
Exactly.
And it's taking him a little time. He's starting to get his little game together a little bit. He's undersized, but if as long as he continues to focus on the defensive part of his game, he'll find a place in this league where he could play for 10, 11 years if he wants to. He doesn't need the money. Obviously,
we know that.
So he's not worried about that.
We definitely get that.
And then LeBron said something right after Bronny got drafted. He said, when I was a rookie in this league, social media wasn't even a real thing. Mm-mm. He said, but Bronny grew up in this era of social media, and he said, honestly, Bronny really doesn't give a damn what y'all think
exactly,
about him.
Exactly. He doesn't. He does. What are you going to care for? You're already rich. You're already popular. You got to live your lifelong dream of getting to the NBA. Mm-hmm. Now, why should I care? After that is already said and done, why should I care now about a random guy in Wyoming saying, Bronny, you suck. You're the worst player ever. Okay. Let me check my USAA and see what this says. Check my Chase bank account and see what this says. And see, do I care about a guy in Utah telling me I suck? No, he doesn't care about that.
Absolutely
nor
not.
Should he. And to the point of LeBron and Bronny, and okay, did he help his son get into the league? Yes.
Absolutely.
Wouldn't you help your son get into the league if you're LeBron James?
Yeah, you got to use your influence. Listen, this is the one thing about being a player. And, when you're at the top of the game, and LeBron has been doing this for 22 years, and he's still one of the best players in the league. Yep. Yeah, you're supposed to use your influence because most times players don't have that ability to even influence something like that. So if you got clout, you better use it.
Yeah.
You absolutely better use it.
That's why you have it.
That's why
to be able to go out there and make decisions. We see guys in the sports world that are in front office positions do it all the time. A la Stephen Jones and the entire Cowboys organization. Anybody ever say, man, Stephen Jones, what are you even doing up there? You don't belong here. They might say it once. Is it going to be the leading topic on SportsCenter every single day for the next 8 months?
Not at all.
Absolutely not.
Not at all.
And Jerry Jones got grandkids that are in the organization. Yeah. I see the new sports betting person they have for each segment on ESPN is Aaron Dolan, who's the daughter of James Dolan, who owns the Knicks. Does anybody say anything? Hey, Aaron Dolan, how did you get this job? No, this is how the world works.
Yeah, all of a sudden nepotism isn't the real thing. You know what I mean? Because it's Bronny James, because it's Shadur Sanders. All of a sudden, there's a problem with nepotism. You know what I mean? Stop that. Stop that.
We watch Eli Manning get to choose where he got drafted.
Come on, man.
And Arch Manning is nowhere near the caliber of player
nowhere near
of
the
LeBron
caliber
James.
or Deion Sanders.
Especially not Deion, who played the same sport as you. You're not even in the same breath as Deion Sanders. So come on, man. I hate that they try to take all this out. Stephen A. tried to come on there and start copping pleas on First Take. Just, man, we all heard what you said, man. I stopped listening when he came on his show a few months ago and said LeBron needs to be more like Carmelo Anthony as far as raising his son. Like, you can't say stuff like that and then you just expect nobody to say nothing to you.
Well, here's the thing. Half the stuff that Stephen A. Smith says, he says it just to get a rise out of people.
Yes,
and
yes.
he understands that.
He knows how TV works.
Yeah, he knows how to get these ratings. I don't think he believes half of that stuff, especially when he goes and try to play devil advocate on something like this.
Exactly.
You really don't. You don't have a leg to stand on, but you're good at putting these words together.
Yeah.
And you're good at crafting a narrative.
Yes.
To where like, oh yeah, this kind of sounds halfway decent, doesn't it? No, not really. And to talk about the nostalgia that we're looking at with the NBA right now, let's understand that this is a league that just signed an 11-year TV deal for $71 billion. So somebody's still watching the NBA.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Exactly. I didn't believe that narrative of, they try to, look at the ratings, look at the look at the TV ratings for everything besides the NFL, because the NFL is still primarily on regular cable television. But look at the ratings for everything. Nothing is just on regular cable television. We're not looking at the YouTube numbers of every night the NBA is getting 20 to 30 to 40 million hits on YouTube nightly. We're not looking at the Instagram where they're getting 50 to 60, 70 million likes nightly on their Instagram and on their social medias. But we're going to go to TV and say, well, not as many people watching it. Hey, not as many people watch TV. Did you ever take that into account? Look at the soap opera numbers. Look at the reality TV numbers.
I actually don't even have cable anymore.
Me either. No.
Because I can get what I want from streaming or from YouTube.
Yes.
With the emergence of like Netflix and Peacock and all these.
I got YouTube TV.
So yeah, I don't need cable. Exactly. Well, why would I pay $150 a month for cable? And like my dad always says, man, all these channels, it ain't nothing on.
Yeah. Boy, ain't that the truth? All these channels ain't nothing to watch. I say that every summer once the NBA and NFL go off. All these channels ain't nothing to turn on. But yeah, I mean, like we can't keep pushing this same old tired narrative of, and that's what people are saying or LeBron is saying, or Channing Frye is saying, when we're just gonna let we already talk about how bad the product is. Well, all they do is shoot threes. All they do is do this. And then now we're going to say, and then the ratings are down. And then we do this. And then LeBron got Bronny into the, why do you think that certain people don't want to watch it? Because they listen to you, and that's what you say every time.
And I think what the game last night, there was the incredible game that we watched last night, I think it shows you there are still teams that are capable of playing what we would consider to be good basketball.
Yes.
They're not just coming out here jacking up threes.
Exactly.
They're running plays.
Yeah.
They're playing defense. So there is still enough good basketball in the league to where it's kind of premature to say, oh, well, man, the league's over with. All everybody do is come out here and jack threes, and, nobody plays defense. That's really not true.
It's not even the truth, because you watch it, like you said, last night, a good game between two good teams. I saw defense getting played. I saw elite shot making from Brunson, from Doncic, from LeBron James. Watch SGA any night. Just watch OKC as a team every night. We all talk about how great SGA is. Their point differential is like that for a reason. They're top in every single defensive category that's out, and they're 52-11. Yeah. So why don't you watch teams like that if you want to talk about, like, don't turn on the Hornets and be like, man, see, the basketball is good. Like, what did the Hornets look like in '89?
Yeah.
What did the Washington Bullets look like?
Yeah,
like what?
You can't tune in to Washington versus Utah and be like, this league sucks.
The product is bad every year. And when you look at the two worst teams in there, I'm not gonna watch an NFL game and turn on the Browns versus the Cowboys and say, man, this just doesn't look right.
Now, I might watch it if I have a fantasy football implication in it. I want to watch my.
That's why I'm watching. I'll have to switch off 5 to 6 minutes of the Texans game to go see if my running back is going to get over 85 yards in this game. So, yeah, that definitely helps boost those ratings. But, nah, man, we got to – I get what LeBron was saying. We got to stop talking about the league in such a negative way, man. The league is way too good right now for us to sit up and talk about all the random negative things and talk about how the Miami Heat don't play defense and how the Sixers aren't good. Like, there's too many people that are really, really good in this league for us to do that. So let's change that narrative and let's talk about the good stuff because this is the best time of the season if you're a basketball fan.
And there are teams currently right now who are still emerging who have a chance. Atlanta, right?
Yes, yes.
You know, there are teams who are getting better every week. Milwaukee, you know, starting to come on. So with this being the point of the year where you have this playoff push, we really have a legitimate chance to have a pretty good playoff on the East and the West.
No, definitely. Shout out to the Detroit Pistons, man. Another team that they won 8 or 9 in a row.
And they so young, they don't even know that they ain't got no business winning.
Man, they don't get it at all.
But that's a team nobody wants to play.
Cade Cunningham, another really great up-and-coming player straight out of this Dallas, Texas area. So shout out to him. Shout out to Coach J.B. Bickerstaff. They tried to blame the whole Cleveland thing on you while Cleveland wasn't winning with Mitchell and all those guys. You go to Detroit and you do what 5 coaches in a row couldn't do. And you've got this team humming, and they're going to be in the playoffs. So shout out to Coach Bickerstaff and all those guys, too, former Rockets coach.
There's still hope for the Houston Rockets.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of teams that are kind of on the cuff. Memphis. You know, there are a lot of teams who are kind of on the cuff. If all these teams are able to get into the playoffs, it could be a very entertaining postseason.
That's what I believe, too, man. I think this postseason is going to be one of the most fun ones we've watched. From round 1, I think it's going to be action-packed. We're not going to see a bunch of sweeps straight out from round 1. We're going to see a lot of good action in this one because outside of the Thunder, Celtics, and Cavs, everybody else is, what are you gonna do out
Pretty
there?
much right there together. Yeah.
We know what except what Boston's gonna do. We know what OKC's gonna do. Everybody else, we're like, the Mavs came out the West last year. They're not gonna make the playoffs.
Well, yeah.
So the West is just
they just had such a bad luck with the injuries.
I mean, that was crazy to see Kyrie going down right after all this stuff happened.
I watched that clip, and it was very encouraging for me to see because he really impressed me by just going out there and shooting the free throws.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Because that was a horrific looking injury.
Yes.
And now they're saying he's out for the season. So Lively was hurt. Gafford was hurt. P.J. Washington's been hurt. Anthony Davis has been hurt. So they just had a rash of injuries. And you couldn't have picked the worst time for that to happen to you.
You couldn't have picked the worst time.
Right after trading Luka, and everybody that we're depending on is not even able to go out there and play. I had a friend of mine that said, "Oh man, I can't believe how Nico Harrison has messed this up." You can't blame Nico for the injuries.
No, you can't blame him for the injuries.
You know, he had a plan.
Did he mess up the Luka thing? Yes, but did he think AD was going to get hurt the first game? No. Did he think Kyrie was going to tear his knee and be out till next March?
No. Who foresaw this? So it's sometimes you just have just a little run of bad luck, and all you can do is say, all right, well, wait till we'll try it again next year.
Probably the worst 30 days probably in sports history for a franchise. You trade your franchise player, the guy you trade him for gets hurt out for the season. Your best player who's leading the league in minutes, averaging 30 since Luka's gone, not only messes himself up and gets out for the season, he's not going to be able to come back till probably January or February of next year.
Yeah.
So
the only thing I blame Nico Harrison for is if you're going to move off of Luka, you got to put him in the open market to get as much as you
get
can
a king's
for him.
ransom.
Like I said, Rudy Gobert went for four first-round picks.
It's got to start there. They're talking for anything with Luka has to start at the bottom floor is what Rudy got traded for. Still think that was just a terrible trade. I have no idea what Minnesota was thinking. Not that they didn't get better, but 4 first-round picks and a couple players for Rudy Gobert is crazy. Seeing Luka go for 1 first-round pick, that's not going to be worth anything because the Lakers are going to be good in 2027 because they got Luka Doncic. They're gonna I would have got every pick I can, and then it was a 3-team trade. I would have tried to find a way to parlay those Lakers picks and swap those picks with Utah. Because we know Utah's going to be sorry for the next 5-6 years.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's swap those picks out to get that going over there with Utah. So
yeah, bring those in.
Yeah, that's the team that's going to be bad.
Yeah, because those going to be lottery picks
for the next 5 years. That's like when the Rockets traded James Harden, we had lottery picks for the next 5 years. That's Utah right now. They got another 5 years of lottery picks coming up. So lots of different storylines going on in the NBA, folks. We got more games on tonight. We'll talk about that a little bit later in hour number 2. Want to switch over to the NFL and talk about some of this crazy NFL free agency that's been going on. Like I said earlier in the show, looks like the NFL's trying to steal some of these headlines back because I just kept looking down at my phone and was like, oh, man, this dude got released. Wait, DK asked for a trade. Okay, every 5 minutes I feel like I'm picking my phone up, trying to write it down in my notes, getting ready for the show, make sure I don't forget this stuff on here, man. So a wild couple of weeks. Let's start with, first off, I want to start with the Combine. This is kind of what you alluded to earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Anonymous, it's always anonymous. An anonymous NFL head coach, or not head coach, a coach in the NFL comes out and says some things about Shedeur Sanders during the Combine process, said this guy is real. It's too flashy. He's very brash and kind of comes off as arrogant. You know, when I start to hear these words, I'm just like, okay, this is somebody that really wants to say something about Deion and that really wants to say something about Shedeur, but I got to cover it up with words like brash and flashy. Because when Andrew Luck comes in and he's super smart and he comes off like he knows exactly what you're talking about when you ask him, well, what route do we throw in cover 2? And he tells you exactly what to do. That just comes out, man, he's so confident he knows what to do with the ball.
Yeah.
When Shedeur says stuff, oh, man, he's flashy. He said, I turned around 2 programs, Jackson State and Colorado. Of course I think I could turn around an NFL program. And you said, oh, man, he's way too arrogant to say something like, what is he supposed to say?
I would say, what else is he going to say? Yeah, there's a situation that exists with me going to the next level to where I might not be able to just be effective. I've always been effective.
Always.
And then you have to understand this. Now, some of the hatred that he's getting is 2 reasons.
Yep.
Number one, is the prevalence of social media. Anybody who has a comment can put it out there.
Yep.
Okay. Even if they won't put their name on it. Like,
they won't gonna put their name on
like Herman would say, well, put your name on
exactly,
it. Okay.
Exactly.
But yeah, they got to be an anonymous quote. And then the second thing is, it's because Shedeur Sanders was raised in privilege. You know, he doesn't need money, and because he was raised by the father who raised him, Deion Sanders has always been extremely confident in his ability to do anything, and he passed that confidence on to his sons.
And that's what he's supposed to do. He
That's
passed
what you're
that confidence to his sons. That's how, like you just said, that's how he raised them. So now he's supposed to come in and be reserved and, oh, man, I don't want to I hope we win a couple games when I get into the NFL.
and understand this, Deion came out last week or maybe the week before, I think it was like maybe Dan Patrick, and he said, listen, I've already been in talks with some of these teams that are looking to draft the quarterback, and I've already told a handful of them, yeah, let's leave us alone.
Yeah.
Don't even worry about us coming up.
Cleveland Browns. I can name off some of them teams I know that Deion talked to. New York Giants. Leave my son out of this, man.
Don't
leave my son alone.
Jets. Don't come around here. Yeah, don't come around here. Yeah.
Because he don't want his son. The worst thing you can do, which we figured out, even worse than your roster being depleted, is coming into a bad culture.
Yeah.
We watch teams with talent, a la the Jets the last 3 or 4 years. Plenty of talent. Haven't been able to win anything. Mm-hmm. You look at the Commanders, they bring in an entire new regime to bring in a new culture. They bring in Dan Quinn that's going to bring in a new culture. The Harrison ownership group with Magic Johnson and some of those other guys, they come in and they make immediate changes, and then they go to the conference finals from being the number 2 pick in the draft.
Yep.
So culture is more – I don't care about what players are there. Who's the coach? What type of culture is on this team? That's why he doesn't want a Giants. That's why he don't want a Cleveland Browns.
This is the reason why players like Myles Garrett wants to get out of Cleveland.
Yes.
It's a losing culture.
Yes.
You haven't done anything. You haven't made any real smart personnel decisions.
Yep.
The Deshaun Watson contract. So yeah, it definitely is about culture. And this is one of the reasons. And even though I come on, I always tell myself when I come on, I'm not going to say anything about the Dallas Cowboys. but
can't help it.
But it's a bad culture.
Yeah, it is.
It's a bad
100%.
culture. Yeah.
They had 6 guys on the All-Pro team a couple of years ago when they lost to Green Bay. They've had teams that have had double-digit amount of Pro Bowlers, and they lose in the first round or the second round. Mm-hmm. It can't be anything else but culture. Mm-hmm. It can't be the X's and O's. Nobody can psych themselves out that bad. It's got to be a culture thing. And like you said, the Cowboys are one of those teams with a bad culture. The Giants are one of those teams with a bad culture. Cleveland, you mentioned the personnel decision. Terrible personnel decision. You get Baker Mayfield finally playing good. You're up by 13 points, I believe, on the Super Bowl champs and the Kansas City Chiefs in the second round of the playoffs. They come back and win, and you blow the team up. And you trade for a washed Deshaun Watson, and you give up the whole house for it as well. So
fully guaranteed contract.
And then give him a fully guaranteed contract because he said, I don't want to go to Cleveland. He had a no-trade clause. He said, I want to go to Atlanta, or I forget who the other team was. I want to say it was the Giants or somebody else, but he's from Atlanta. The deal for Atlanta was already done. And Cleveland came in at the last minute and said, well, we'll give you 3 first-round picks, a second-round pick, and we'll give Deshaun Watson a $230 million guaranteed contract. Well, at that point, okay, this is an easy deal. I'm going to take that deal. So personnel issues have been the problem with that. Speaking of the Cleveland Browns, the Browns owner declines a meeting with Myles Garrett. Doesn't want to have a sit-down meeting. Myles Garrett probably just wanted to come in and say, hey, I still want to be traded for these reasons. But these owners, talking about arrogance and all these other things they try to put on Shador, these owners are so arrogant. They, man, you're the player, I'm the owner. I don't want to sit down and talk about what you want to talk about. I don't want you to tell me all the things I'm doing wrong. I want you to just come out there and play because I paid you this money and I have you under contract. Jimmy Haslam decided to decline the request to meet with Myles Garrett since he decided to come out and ask for a trade. So what is Andrew Berry supposed to do is my question with that. Andrew Berry is the GM who keeps saying, I don't care what Myles Garrett says. We're not trading Myles Garrett. He's by far our best player. He's one of the best players in our franchise's history. Why would I trade him? But then your owner doesn't even want to meet with him. Well, you don't got a choice now. They just put Andrew Berry in a bad spot. What do you think about this whole Myles Garrett trade situation that's apparently gotten worse since Jimmy Haslam doesn't want to meet with him?
Yeah, there's going to come a point in time to where you just have to move on from him because you can't make a guy play. If he don't want to be there, he's not going to do anything. He might hold out. You know what I mean? Because let's be honest, he has a good enough reputation to being one of the best defensive ends in the league.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So you know what, Cleveland? I'll just sit out all year. I ain't worried about that.
He got plenty of money.
I got plenty of money. And once this contract runs out, I'll have people beating down my door to come back and play, especially if I sit out a season or two and come back fresh. He's not even 30 years old.
Yeah.
So, yeah, at some point, if you're Andrew Berry, you got to really consider moving on from him. Get something for him. Don't just let him walk away from the building and then you don't have anything to show for it.
It's not going to do you any good. We've seen this too many times where you wait and you wait. I don't get, and people always criticize Bill Belichick. They said he got players out of there so early. If your contract year is coming up and he knew in his mind, hey, you're not a guy that we're going to pay, hey, we're going to trade you now. We're not going to wait around and say, oh, well, maybe see how he plays this season, because then what if he has an all-pro season and you got to pay him triple what you had to pay him before? Mm-hmm. He got people out of there early, but we see the reasons why he did that. Look at the Cowboys and the situation they put themselves in, waiting on CeeDee Lamb, waiting on Dak Prescott, waiting on Micah Parsons.
Yeah, now they're waiting on Micah Parsons.
And they're going to wait to the last second to give Micah a contract after he's probably going to go get 20 sacks this next year, and you're going to have to pay him double whatever you were going to pay him anyway. Mm-hmm. The same situation we look at the Cincinnati Bengals are in right now. You don't want to pay Jamar Chase, and what does he do? He goes winning Triple Crown.
And I was really surprised that Cincinnati did what they did in bringing back a franchise tagging T. Higgins.
Yes.
That really did shock me.
Yeah.
Because I was like, the only one that you really got to get something for is Chase. Mm-hmm. And then you could move these other two guys. You can just let T. Higgins just kick rocks.
Yeah. Seriously.
And you could trade Trey Henderson. So yeah, I was really surprised that they went the route that they did. Now I guess what that says to me is they think that their roster is good enough to compete with the elite teams in the AFC. Is that what that's saying to me?
That's all they could be saying. That you invested. We were talking about this earlier this week on the show. You've invested. You're going to have to invest probably $150 million in Jamar Chase. Mm-hmm. Justin Jefferson is the highest paid receiver in the league at $120 million for 4 years, and I think $100,000 of that was guaranteed. Was signing bonus guaranteed money. You're going to have to do at least $20 to $30 million more than that for Chase, not only because he's better, but then he just won the Triple Crown as well, and the salary cap went up, so it's another year, so he wants more money. Mm-hmm. When you could have signed him last year when he begged y'all pretty much to sign him, you got 2 years left on your deal. Now you franchise tag it. Shout out to T. Higgins because it's in a bad route for him, for the people wondering why he signed it. He made $20 million last year. He's going to make $26 million this year. And then somebody, I don't think he's a top-tier number one receiver, but somebody's going to think that, and they're going to give him $100 million. Like Brandon Ayuk got $120 million last year. So somebody's going to give him that money. So he's going to have he's going to take the Kirk Cousins route, and I'm going to get paid a couple times with this salary cap, and I'm going to get a big contract after that. So you allocate that much money to your wide receiver room when your offensive line is terrible. They just said they're going to give Trey Hendrickson permission to seek a trade, and he's been a top 3 pass rusher in the league for the last 2 or 3 years.
And they just cut Alex Kappas.
Yeah.
To save $18 million on the cap.
Sam Hubbard, another guy they were paying a lot of money, retired.
Yeah. So
on their D-line.
So you're just trying to you're cutting. Okay, your offensive line and D-line is not good, but this is where you're culling from, so you could save money. Okay, I'm not sure I understand that. I
don't understand anything they've been doing, and then on top of all that, we're letting those guys go. But hey, here's $26 million to T. Higgins. Like, what is that going to solve? What is this 900 yards a year that he's going to put in going to solve for your team when you couldn't make the playoffs with the sack leader, the passing yards leader, and a triple crown receiver, and you couldn't win? But hey, let's give our receivers $75 million for the cap. Like, I don't get that, but the Bengals are showing us why they've been the Bengals for all these years, because they've had one of the worst ownership groups, in my opinion, in the National Football League as far as their decision making. They let Carson Palmer walk because they said he was washed, and he goes to the NFC Championship with Arizona Cardinals.
I think it was Rich Eisen who said that Cincinnati Bengals owner Mike Brown still has a wallet with the little Velcro. That's how cheap he is.
I wouldn't be shocked about that at all, man. This guy is notoriously cheap, and it's coming back to bite him. And it's coming back to bite the Cincinnati Bengals, man. I mean, Joe Burrow was just kind of sitting there like, okay, I know y'all are going to keep paying me because I'm the quarterback, but am I just supposed to come out here and lose every year? I was one of the best quarterbacks in college football history. I came in my first full year playing, and I went to the Super Bowl. And since then, we've just been on a downward tick. What am I supposed to do with that? How am I supposed to feel about this? So, yeah, man, this Bengals situation is kind of strange, and I really don't know which direction they're going. To another organization that I never have an idea where it's going. Jerry Jones talks about his Dallas Cowboys and says, hey, we're not looking to fill the holes and the voids we have on our team with free agency. And it's like, okay, well, you just cleared up, I forget, maybe close to $20 million in cap because you moved some of CeeDee Lamb's contract over the signing bonus, so it's not going to hit against the cap. You restructure some money with Dak. Same thing. You give him a signing bonus money. It's not going to hit against the cap, so that frees up the cap room. And you're doing that to do what exactly, Jerry Jones? Do you even know that your team is freeing up cap room? Let's start with that. I don't think Jerry Jones know what moves are happening within the Cowboys. I think people just put a mic in front of him, he starts talking. We're not looking to fill in those voids. So you got 7 draft picks. You think you only have 7 voids on your team? 7 holes? And in those 7 draft picks, you think all of those guys are day one starters that you can fill in with those 7? What are you talking about? I mean, I say this all the time with Jay, but what are you really talking about?
He'll do good to find 2 guys on in the draft that he could plug in and play. Yes. He'll do good to find 2.
And hope he don't draft Taco Charlton or Mozzie Smith
because he's
or
done
Tyler
that.
Guyton.
Yeah, because he's done that before. So his judgment is always questionable. If you're not trying to fill these holes with free agency, then what that tells me is you're really not trying to fill these holes.
Yeah.
And the reason why he can do that is because this is the most loyal fan base in the league. Man. They're not going anywhere. They might sit up here and complain and cry, but guess what? We're still going to the game.
They're going to complain and cry, and
it's still going to be a sellout. We might talk trash about him on social media, but guess what? We going to the game next Sunday.
I'm buy another CeeDee Lamb jersey. I'm gonna buy a Dak jersey still.
So the reason why Jerry Jones is never really serious about fixing this team is because he knows he doesn't have to.
Yep,
he doesn't have to.
It's that simple.
Because these people are not going to stop coming.
Nope. They're going to show up like I've been saying on the show. I went to the Monday night game this year, the Texans versus the Cowboys, and I was thinking, hey, well, probably be a lot of Texans fans here. The Cowboys season is over with. It's towards the end of the season. It's packed in there, and there's Cowboys fans everywhere I can turn looking to argue with me about the Texans, even though we're up by 15, 20 points. Yeah. I'm like, this is why Jerry Jones doesn't care. He's gonna make people pay $100 for parking. The parking lot was full. People are in line to get drinks and corn dogs and hot dogs. All that is $20 plus for everything you. Why do I care about what we're spending in free
until the members of Cowboy Nation hold Jerry Jones accountable for improving the team? He's going to do this every year.
Yep.
Why would he? Why would he not?
Somebody give me a reason why he shouldn't do that.
Because this is how his franchise is the highest valued franchise. No, I made so much money doing this every year. Why would I want to change anything?
Every single year I make this much money. Every single year we're the number one most watched thing on television on earth. That includes every TV show. That includes the World Series. That includes Copa America with Mexico versus America. Like, that includes everything. Soccer, it doesn't matter. He's the most watched thing on television every single year. Somebody tell me what I'm changing for. Yeah. And I get to come on here and talk about this every week, and I can make us get more headlines because I'm just going to say whatever I feel like saying. Why wouldn't I be able to go out there and still do the same things over and over?
Yeah,
So,
why would I stop talking in front of microphones every week? Because I can say whatever I want to say.
And I feel like I got a lot to say.
And I feel like what I have to say is relevant, even though 9 times out of 10 it's not.
Not even close.
Yeah. Why change if you're Jerry Jones?
Yeah, I don't see that changing at all. But I mean, hey, it's the Cowboys, y'all. Y'all signed up for this. You know what you signed up for when you got into this, man. If you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, shout out to all my Cowboys fans that are watching here, because I know we got a lot of people that have watched that are Cowboys fans as well. A lot of them are my family included. So definitely shout out to you guys as well. But looking at some other NFL free agency news, it's been a lot of trade talks. First off, the Houston Texans trade a 7th-round pick for Christian Kirk, the receiver out of Jacksonville. Now, I knew we were going to trade and try to get a receiver. I was hoping more of the, Devontae Adams, more of the DK Metcalf, who we're about to talk about in a second. One of those guys. Christian Kirk's not a bad receiver. I just don't like getting guys that are okay on big contracts. Doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know why Jacksonville paid him that much money, but we got him for really cheap, so I understand it. We had to give up a 7th-round pick. We were planning on giving up a 3rd or a 4th for Deebo Samuel. We were really close in the running for that. The DK news came out. We were trying to get together a couple of picks for that, but hey, we give up a 7th-round pick, next year's 7th-round pick, for a guy that can come in and give us some production right now. Doesn't sound like that bad of a deal to me. What do you think about Christian Kirk heading down there to Houston with C.J. Stroud?
Yeah, I loved it, especially for that price.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely a guy that's going to make your receiver room better. Like you say, he's not a wide receiver 1 type guy. But as long as they come back healthy with Nico Collins and Tank Dell and is Diggs still?
No, Diggs is a free agent.
Diggs free agent. Okay. Yeah. So as long as they can come back, John Michie.
Yeah. Mechie's still out there.
Yeah. So as long as they can come back 100% healthy, this is a guy who could actually help you win some ball games, because Christian Kirk is a very good receiver.
Yes.
He's not a great receiver, but he's definitely a guy who can come out here and put up some numbers for you and get in the end zone 5 or 6 times.
Definitely a really, really good pickup, man. And I like what the organization is doing. They're saying, hey, we're going to re-up on building around C.J. Stroud. We're not going to give up on him because he had a sophomore slump. We're going to re-up on this. We cleared some cap space, getting rid of some of those linemen that were just getting beat down every single play, that are getting paid. I mean, that was out of all the great picks we made, one of the worst picks we ever made was getting Kenyon Green, and we were right there in the running to be able to get Kyle Hamilton coming out of Notre Dame, and I was like, man, this dude is going to be a star. Can we please draft Kyle Hamilton? We ended up getting Jalen Petrie, so I wasn't too mad, but I knew Kyle Hamilton was going to be stud, and I didn't know anything about Kenyon Green, who turns out to be terrible at football. But they're letting some of those guys go, retooling the offensive line and building around C.J. Stroud, so that was a good move. Also, in trade news, Deebo Samuel heads down to the Washington Commanders, but there's a new receiver on the market, and that's DK Metcalf. The Seahawks are kind of in a awkward position. They're almost rebuilding, but they're almost not. You got an aging quarterback in Geno Smith, but you got some really nice young players on the defensive side of the ball with guys like Tariq Woolen out of San Antonio, guys like Devin Witherspoon, and then you got some young guys on the offensive end with Jackson Smith and Jigba as well, and Kenneth Walker at the running back position. They let go of Tyler Lockett, who's been a long-time vet with the Seahawks. They released him, and it's immediately after they released him, DK Metcalf asked for a trade because he probably doesn't want to be a part of a rebuild. He feels like, hey, in a bigger market, I could probably make more money. I can probably get some more TV deals. I can do a lot more things. than if I'm just sitting here in Seattle and letting my talent go to waste. So he decided to ask for a trade, and the Seahawks said they've already talked to a ton of teams, in their words, a ton of teams on a deal, making a deal for DK. So both sides are coming to an agreement here of, yeah, let's go ahead and find a deal and see if we can get some more draft capital out of this. What do you think about DK asking for a trade, and where should this dude go to? Because
I was very surprised to hear that he wanted out. Not shocked, but I was surprised to hear that. The first thing that crossed my mind when Seattle loses their top 2 receivers, and like I say, you have an aging quarterback in Geno Smith. Now you're pretty much in rebuild mode.
Yeah.
Because you got to address your quarterback position. You can't expect Geno to repeat what he did last season.
Yep.
So I think DK Metcalf is trying to reset himself in a bigger market.
Yes.
I could see him going to the Giants.
Yeah.
Because the Giants don't necessarily need to use their first-round pick to take a quarterback, like everybody's speculating.
Yeah.
They can just trade that pick and bring in a stud like DK Metcalf, and you already have Malik Neighbors on the other side.
Yeah. And he's probably going to go for a second or third rounder at that point, so you'll get to keep that pick at number 3. Like you said, I don't think they're going with a quarterback at number 3 anyway. I think they're going to wait to the second round and see if they can wait around. I don't think Jackson Dart is going to be there anymore. I think somebody at the end of the first is probably going to take him after the really good combine performance he had. But Quinn Ewers is still going to be there. The kid out of Louisville looked good. Brady Cook out of Missouri looked really good during the combine. I think they're thinking, hey, man, let's just hold back, waiting the second or third round so we get a quarterback.
And Louisville really helped himself at the combine.
Yeah, he did.
Tyler Slough.
Yes.
Yeah, he really helped his draft status.
Yeah, and he's got a big arm. I kind of like that dude. He's another guy that, similar to Shador and Cam, has played a lot of football. He's got a chance to see a lot of the field. Man, somebody's going to take a chance on that guy. Brady Cook the same way. A dude that was a 3-year starter at Missouri, put up crazy numbers every single week. He was just in Missouri in the SEC, so nobody talks about him because we got to talk about.
And a lot of that has to do with Luther Burden.
Luther Burden and Theo Weiss, who were both 2 top guys coming out.
Yeah.
Luther Burden, another guy, ran a 4.41, I believe, really helped out his combine status as well. So I'm like you said.
Matthew Golden, I think, was the biggest winner.
Biggest winner of the combine.
On the offensive side of the ball, Matthew Golden. On the defensive side of the ball, it was Stewart out of A&M.
Yes, Shamar Stewart, man. Stewart. And I'm trying to go back to my notes. Neek Eman Worry, the safety out of South Carolina, I think has a chance to maybe go in the first round after he was already one of the top safeties coming out this year. He was the leader on that South Carolina defense that ended up being really, really good. But a guy that's 6'3", 220 pounds, and you go out there and run a 4.38, yeah, you're probably going to go in the first round of the draft, man.
That's Kyle Hamilton.
Exactly. That's what we just described. We're looking at Cam Chancellor, Kyle Hamilton, somebody in that ilk. So, yeah, man, a lot of guys helped their status. And like you said, Shamar Stewart out of Texas A&M wasn't even considered to be the top DN pass rusher out of A&M. Yeah. Everybody was looking at Nick Scorton, obviously, as they should, who's another really good draft prospect. But Shamar Stewart coming out there and playing the way he did in that combine, running the time he did, his shuttle speed was good.
And there's always, every year there's some workout warriors.
Yeah.
And I think we put too much. I think we make too much of their workout because haven't you already had seasons of film on these people?
Thank you. Yeah.
So I don't care what a guy's measurables is. If he can't play, then he can't play. Just because and this is where the arrogance comes in on the general managers.
Yes.
Oh, well, we can do it. We'll just bring him in. We'll coach him up. Now they're saying Stewart might go ahead of Abdul Carter. You see? But how many plays did Abdul Carter make?
Come on, man.
You know what I mean?
You be an idiot to take. Not saying that Shamar Stewart could be great, but if we're going to go off projection, like you said, I'm always going to value film more than I value what a dude's hand size is. Wayne was on the show earlier this week. He said, man, they measure everything you could think of at the combine. They measure your toes. They measure your foot. Like, all of this stuff can't go into that. Y'all have some recipe of, this is what you get every single time. If the guy measures at this, if his hands are this big and this big, he's going to be Tom Brady. If he looks like this, clearly none of that matters.
And remember what Tom Brady looked like.
Didn't even look like an NFL player.
He was like a doughboy out there.
Yeah.
And he ends up being the greatest quarterback of all time.
Come on.
So you really can only read so much into these physical measurables.
I never looked that much into it, man. Yeah. Like you said, the workout warriors, the guys that come in there, the Anthony Richardsons, who's going to run a 4.4, who's going to throw the ball 80 yards.
I'm still mad about Mike Mamula.
Yeah.
I'm still mad about that.
I went back and looked at this combine stuff after we talked about it last year.
Yeah.
I mean, an amazing, probably one of the best combine performances you could have.
Yeah.
What did he do when he got to the league? Absolutely nothing, man. So guys put way too much ranking into this stuff. And I get it. It's the combine. They really don't have that much else to do. You think they'd be more focused on free agency, but instead they go to the combine and say stuff like, Shedeur is too brash. Let's not draft this guy because he's too arrogant. Like, man, what are y'all talking about? I really don't think you guys know what y'all talking about. Last one, I think the Chargers releasing Joey Bosa could really send waves through some teams, because adding a guy like Joey Bosa, if he's healthy, adding a guy like Joey Bosa can be a game changer for teams. I'm just hoping that he doesn't end up on a Kansas City or something like that. It seems like that's where everybody goes when they're trying to get on a prove-it deal. But, man, this dude could literally change somebody's team around with what he can do if he can stay healthy.
How about I say, but you said the key phrase to that sentence, if he can stay healthy.
Yeah.
And I understand why the Chargers did what they did, because there's a lot of good edge players in this draft. You can hit on a number of guys in this draft. First round, second round, right? So I get it. You save a bunch of money, and you still have to pay Khalil Mack. So yeah, move on from Bosa, sure, because the one thing that Harbaugh has done with the Chargers is he's reset that whole culture.
Yes.
They're going to come in, they're going to run the football, they're going to play good defense, and Justin Herbert doesn't have to do a whole lot for you to win ball games. But it's nice to know that if I need Justin Herbert to throw the ball 40 times, I got no problem dialing up those 40 pass plays.
Exactly. And I think we're going to see a heavy Michigan draft for the Chargers coming out. Said they got pass rushers. Well, it's a lot of pass rushers coming out from Michigan. They're going to be looking to replace some guys at the running back position. It's a couple of good running backs coming out of Michigan. So a really good tight end, Loveland, coming out of Michigan. Man, expect to see a lot of these Michigan guys heading to Los Angeles to the Chargers if you haven't paid attention already. And Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack, who's also a free agent, those weren't John Harbaugh's guys.
No.
Or Jim Harbaugh, those weren't his guys. They were just on the team when he got there. I think he's definitely in love with Justin Herbert as a quarterback and as a talent. But outside of that, the guys that he didn't bring in this last year that were already on the team, besides Derwin James and Justin Herbert, I would expect to see turnover at just about every single position for those guys.
Yeah, especially when we're talking about salary cap implications.
Yes.
I can move on to you, and like you say, just bring my own guys in from college.
Because there's a bunch of good ones coming out. They're not picking high enough to get a Mason Graham.
And it's not just the kids that he coached at Michigan, but it's the kids that he coached against.
In the Big Ten.
He's familiar with those guys as well.
Yeah. I would expect to see a lot of those guys heading down there to the Chargers, man. Jim Harbaugh's got an eye for talent. We're not questioning him.
More Michigan guys get drafted by the Chargers, or more Georgia guys get drafted by Philly?
That's a good over-under prop that we might have to come back and revisit on here, because they got a pipeline going to Philly straight out of Georgia, man. So I wouldn't be shocked about that at all. So expect to see some Georgia guys coming back to Philly. Expect to see some Michigan and possibly some Ohio State guys going out there to San Diego, to the Los Angeles Chargers as well. So lots of going on in the free agency world, folks. Lots going on in the NBA world. We got to take a break. We'll come back to touch the top of the hour. When we come back, we got some more NBA talk. We'll talk about a little bit more in this NFL free agency. And also, got to give out my props for the day, man. I know y'all seen those that follow me on Instagram. It's at the bottom of the ticker on there, at Jalen Gillis. I showed y'all some of my picks yesterday. All of those picks cashed in. So y'all might want to come on here and figure out what's going on, man. I got my props for tonight.
I didn't know you was guruing like that.
Hey, man, I'm getting a little something together, putting a little something together for it, man. But we got some more coming up for here, folks. Stay tuned and stay locked in here on Centex Primetime. We'll be right back after this break.
Lighthouse Streaming, a full-scale media agency and your go-to source for all things audio and video. Is your church long overdue for audio and video upgrades? Call Lighthouse Streaming for a free consultation. Does your corporate or church event need audio or video production? Don't stress. Call the guys at Lighthouse Streaming. In business since 2017, Lighthouse Streaming has produced hundreds of live events and completed dozens of church and venue installations. Whatever your AV needs are, Lighthouse Streaming has you covered. Give them a call at 254-252-4206. That's 254-252-4206. 4206 or go to lighthousestreaming.com and set up your free consultation.
Hey guys, it's Rocky and Keisha, and at Prosperity Tax Service, we're all about convenience. We get it. Life is busy. Your time is valuable. That's why we've streamlined the entire process to be as hassle-free as possible.
No more sifting through piles of paperwork or spending hours at an office. With Prosperity Tax Service, you can handle your taxes from the comfort of your own home.
Your financial data is in safe hands with us through our secure and user-friendly customer portal at prosperitytax.com. It's your one-stop shop for all things tax-related. Log in anytime, from anywhere, whether it's from your couch or on the go.
We are experienced tax professionals, well-versed in handling a variety of tax situations. Receive genuine assistance and competitive pricing from real tax professionals who've seen it all.
We're marking 2 decades as a community-based enterprise here in Waco, Texas. So call us at 254-235-5662 or log on to www.prosperitytax.com. Thanks, guys.
NSJ Event Co., one of the premier event designers in Central Texas and a Centex Sports Network supporter. Voted Waco Awards Event Planner of the Year 2021, NSJ Event Co. is your go-to source for event planning. Whether it's your next baby shower, birthday bash, wedding, or retirement party, NSJ Event Co. will bring out the elegance, class, and style your event deserves. Call NSJ Event Co. at the number on the screen or scan the QR code to schedule a free consultation. NSJ Event Co., where the party lady takes care of all your event needs.
Hello?
Hey, what are you doing?
Oh, nothing, girl. Trying to decide where I'm going to find a birthday gift for my boyfriend.
Oh, that's easy. Go over to the hat stand at 900 East Waco Drive.
What do they carry?
They carry men's urban wear, jerseys, hats. They even do custom embroidery. You could get his name on a hat.
What? Really?
Yeah, you can even get a custom birthday shirt made as well.
I'm on my way. Where did you say it was again?
900 East Waco Drive. Right there, next to the Goodwill.
Okay.
Lighthouse Streaming, a full-scale media agency and your go-to source for all things audio and video. Is your church long overdue for audio and video upgrades? Call Lighthouse Streaming for a free consultation. Does your corporate or church event need audio or video production? Don't stress. Call the guys at Lighthouse Streaming. In business since 2017, Lighthouse Streaming has produced hundreds of live events and completed dozens of church and venue installations. Whatever your AV needs are, Lighthouse Streaming has you covered. Give them a call at 254-252-4206. That's 254-252-4206. Or go to lighthousestreaming.com and set up your free consultation.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into Centex Prime Time. I am your host, Jalen Gillis, here in hour number 2 of the show here today. I want to thank everybody for tuning in with us today over on Centex Sports Network, on Centex Sports Network TV / Centex Sports Network on YouTube. Also on Facebook as well, Centex Sports Network. We're also live on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, wherever you're watching from. Thank you guys for tuning in with us here today on Centex Prime Time. Hour number 2 of the show just got done talking about in hour number 1 some of this NFL free agency news. Just got done talking about here in hour number, getting ready to talk about here in hour number 2, some more of this NBA news cycle that's going around. Plenty of good games going on. The Los Angeles Lakers are going out or just got done beating the New York Knicks on primetime television. Like I said, reminiscent to some of the old school basketball that we got to see on those Thursday nights on TNT. A really good game that was last night. Some more really good games coming on tonight. I'll give out a couple of the props that I like here today in just a minute as well. Joining me on the show here today for some of the conversation, just had Sid Igerhart wrap up with us. Appreciate Sid for jumping on here with me. Another familiar face here to the show, Kyrell Gibson, jumping on the show here with me today to finish out hour number 2 on this Feel Good Friday. Kyrell, what's going on?
What's going on, brother? What's going on? Been a minute.
Yeah, nothing much, man. Been a minute. I figured, the Mavs too much going on, man, that you decided, hey, I don't need to talk about this right now. We'll just wait it out, and I'll come back on here when some of this blows over. But, hey, man, appreciate you jumping on. No, for real. Hey, appreciate you jumping on here with me. Like I said, folks, we got plenty to talk about, and we'll jump right into it. A lot of quick takes that we got to talk about, a lot of news cycles, and I asked Kyrell about some of the things we talked about in the last hour as well. Before we do that, just got breaking news to my phone. We were just talking about this about 15 minutes ago. Geno Smith is being traded to the Las Vegas Raiders. We were just talking about the Seahawks team and how they released Tyler Lockett and they're trading DK Metcalf, and that let me know right there, hey, they're going into a rebuild mode. They got a lot of young talent out there. They're going into a rebuild mode in Seattle, but they're definitely going into a rebuild mode now. Geno Smith headed out to the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders have been saying they wanted to get a veteran quarterback. They went hard after Matthew Stafford. They even talked to Aaron Rodgers. They've talked to a lot of guys. Geno Smith getting traded for a third-round pick. The Las Vegas Raiders trying to turn some things around, and that kind of lets us know, hey, they might be out of this quarterback market as far as in the draft. A lot of people linked them to Shador. Some people thought they were going to trade up and get a Cam Ward, maybe even take a chance on a Jackson Dart. But this trade kind of cancels out all of that. Kyrell, this is in real time, so what do you think about the news that just broke of Geno Smith heading out to Las Vegas?
Yeah, I don't think it necessarily takes them out of the Shador sweepstakes or any, Cam Ward or whatever. I think if you look at some of the young guys that have come in as of late, they sat for a year. I think the way Mahomes is gone, Jordan Love's emergence as a solid quarterback this year, I think they want it makes sense for them to want a solid veteran or Shador or whichever quarterback they get to come in and compete with, possibly sit for a year and learn what it's like to what it means to be an NFL quarterback. And I think Geno's a good source for that. It kind of reminds me of Alex Smith had way more success than him, but this is both kind of they had their good years, they had their bad years, So I think they'll still be in the sweepstakes. But on the other hand, it could mean hey, somebody else might get an opportunity to get drafted to or Cam Ward. But I'm gonna go with the former on that one and say they're just a veteran on staff. On staff.
Yeah, I agree with that. I can still see them taking a guy, maybe now even looking back into the second round, looking to a guy like a Quinn Ewers or looking to a guy like a Brady Cook, who had a good combine performance. The kid out of Louisville had a good combine performance as well. Maybe one of those guys are in the running, because I don't think after the combine performance that Jackson Dart had, I don't think he's going to be going in the second round. But some of those other guys are going to go early second round. Maybe a guy like Brady Cook, who might be around the third round, that you can probably pick up as well. So we'll see which way they're going. But what we do know is Tom Brady's not trying to sit around and be losing. He said he was just going to be a part owner in the team and kind of chill, but clearly that didn't work out at all. I don't think his brain can make him chill. I think he's going to be way more involved, which he's showing. They got Pete Carroll in there, so not surprising that Pete Carroll, who brought Geno Smith in Seattle right before he retired, and now he's back at being the coach at the Raiders, went and got a Geno Smith. That part's not surprising at all. I like Pete Carroll as a coach. I think he's a culture builder, if nothing else. Don't really know much about him on the X's and O's. Very questionable calls, like not handing the ball to Marshawn Lynch on the 1-yard line, but that's all behind him now. And I'm sure Tom Brady is cool with that, because that helped him get another ring, and now he also works with Tom Brady. Kind of crazy how that full circle comes around. But Geno Smith headed out to Las Vegas, folks. That's live breaking news. We said it right here on the show as he's headed down to Vegas. to play with nobody because the Vegas Raiders have nobody on the team unless he could throw the ball to Max Crosby. They don't have anybody on that team. So this is a full rebuild to the Las Vegas Raiders. There's nobody in competition. Name me three players on the Raiders. Come on, man. We're not finna say Jacoby Myers.
You got Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers.
Okay, Brock Bowers. Jacoby Myers.
I was just playing. All right, y'all don't run with that Jacoby Myers.
Yeah, I'm not big on receivers that run a 5-1. We're not going to talk about Jacoby Myers. I'm not big on guys like that. Brock Bowers, obviously. Brock Bowers is a stud. They have no running backs. I think Colton Miller is still there at left tackle, but they have no offensive line outside of Colton Miller. But now they got Geno Smith, and they can start this rebuild process. I know they got plenty of money. They in Vegas. They got plenty of money. Al Davis, son, Mark Davis, ain't hurting for no money. They got plenty of that. So they'll be able to spend some of that money in this free agency cycle. Before I go to my props for the night, of some props that I like, we're talking about free agency cycle. What do you think about your owner of the Cowboys, man? Jerry Jones said, hey, we're not looking to fill any holes or any voids in this free agency class coming up. I don't even know what that was supposed to mean, but that's just what he said. What's your thoughts on him saying that?
Yeah, man, they don't. It's just too much, Joe. Not the. It's just this might be the worst 2 months, 3 months of sports in my life. The Eagles winning the Super Bowl, Dallas, what happened to the Mavericks? Then Jerry coming out and saying what are you doing? I mean, look, man, we know who the Joneses are. They don't believe in spending money in free agency. They clearly haven't learned from watching the Eagles go to 2 Super Bowls in the last 10 years?
Yep.
Or 8 years? Yeah, they're not learning. They're just gonna keep doing what they do, taking our money. These fans gonna be in the stadiums asking them to put Romo in, even though he retired 3 years ago or 5 years ago. It's just the way it's gonna go, man. I'm at the center of the idiocracy, man. I don't know. I don't know what you want to say, but it's terrible, man. I don't know. I can't justify the Joneses' methods of building a franchise. They don't believe in splashing on guys in free agency. They haven't done so since Terrell Owens. And to me, that just doesn't make sense because you got a guy 3 years ago and Stephon Gilmore, and for that first year, he changed your defense. I mean, Dan Quinn was involved, of course, as well, but he was making plays, man, and that was a great free agent signing. Of course, age eventually caught up. He declined eventually because we got him on the back end of his career. But that first year, Stephon Gilmore was nice, and that was a free agent signing. And I don't know who they think they are. They clearly they must think they're the draft gurus or something. They're just gonna find the next beauty in the draft class. But these guys aren't that great at drafting people. Let's not get it twisted. Just because these guys turn into stars because of the brand doesn't mean they're,
A1 great players. Yeah.
You're not getting blue chips, man. You got lucky a couple times. Yeah, you got a couple guys, but in the majority, I can't say you draft better than anybody else. Can't say you so you can't put it together. So I don't care, man. We're gonna be out there. I'm gonna watch the games next year, and we're gonna win, beat up on the bad teams, lose against the good ones, and
back to the same old, man. It's
Saquon still play for the
quo.
Eagles. All right, it's over with.
Yeah, that's tough. And then you just read up on an even better deal too, so that's kind of crazy. But like you said, if you're a Dallas fan, which we got plenty on here to watch and listen with us here on the show, it's definitely been a rough couple of months for you guys. Like I said earlier on the show, probably the wildest 30 days that any organization has had in sports. When you talk about the Dallas Mavericks, you trade not only your franchise player, but the guy that was on a clear trajectory to be your best player in franchise history. You trade that guy. The guy you trade him for gets hurt after putting up 30 in 3 quarters of the first game. He gets hurt. He's almost done for the season. Then the heart and soul of your team, the one leader you have on your team outside of Jason Kidd and Kyrie Irving, gets hurt and probably won't be back to January, February of next year. So, I mean, wild 30 days for the Dallas Mavericks. But, it's Dallas. You guys are kind of used to seeing some of that crazy stuff. Anyway, folks, I want to go to some of my props that I have for tonight. Like I said, those of you that follow me on Instagram, it's at the bottom, at Jalen Gillis. I've been posting some of my picks the last couple of days on there. I'm just going to give you a couple today that I like. I'm going to start putting more of these out here, especially as we get into the summer, and we're not going to have anything to bet on but NASCAR and baseball and CSGO, whatever that is. I don't know, but people are always sending in bets for that thing. We'll talk some more about these props as we get further, especially going to the playoffs, man, because I think that's when the props are the best because you know what guys are going to do in the playoffs. A couple of the props that I like here tonight. Jaden McDaniels, the forward for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Over 21.5 points, rebounds, assists. Now, for those of you that don't know, that don't watch, that don't gamble and don't watch the show because we talk about it all the time, the points, rebounds, assists is just what his total number for how many points he gets, how many rebounds, how many assists. His number in the line that I picked that I got in on was 21.5 points, rebounds, assists. The last 5 games, he's gone over 21.5, all 5. He's averaging 29 is his number that he's averaged in the last 5 games. I expect him to do the same again tonight against Miami. Another one, these are my locks. I'll give y'all a couple that I think are just all right. But my locks are that first one, Jaden McDaniels. My second lock that you can lock in, Kevin Durant playing against the Denver Nuggets tonight. I believe that game is on ESPN. 31.5 points and rebounds. He's gone over that prop in his last 2 games. He's gone over that prop in 4 of his last 5 games. I expect him to go over that again tonight. 31.5 points and rebounds. He might drop 30 tonight. So there you go. That'll be an easy pickup for you guys if you do get that. But those are my 2 locks for today on the prize picks or whatever you're betting on. Most of these lines are around the same on whatever your betting app of choice is. My other one that I had, and that game just started, so you'd have to get it on the live bets, is Donovan Mitchell, over 5 assists. Those aren't my locks. These are just if you need some more to fill out your lineup. And I had LaMelo Ball, who's also playing right now against Cleveland, matter of fact, 11.5 rebounds and assists. He's gone over that in 3 of his last 4 games. So I like that line as well. Those are just some of my picks that I put out there. But the Jaden McDaniels and the Kevin Durant, those are my 2 locks for tonight. So if you're looking for a couple extra picks to finish out your parlay, put those in there, man. Tag me on Instagram if those hit tonight, and y'all see that those picks go through. Any picks you like, Kyrell, tonight? I don't know if you've been on there on the sites today or not. Any picks that you like for tonight?
No, man, I hit him over the head a couple weeks ago, so
hey, that's how I go.
I'm taking my dub and sitting for a while, but I'm gonna get back active pretty soon.
Now that's what you're supposed to do. You get them a couple times. I already learned my lesson. I was on their necks last week. Hit about 4 or 5 of them in a row, so you know what that means. They got to get that money back. So he's doing the right thing. If you hit big, just wait, man. Don't get so anxious. Cash out and wait. You take like I always say. I look at it's the same thing as stocks. You trim off the top and you leave some in there for your next stock. It's the same thing here. You trim some off the top, depending on what your earnings are, and you put that back out. Now, we're not giving y'all any definite advice here, man. This is all just for fun. This is for entertainment purposes only. Don't call me if that pick doesn't hit because I'm not going to answer anyway. But those are some of those that I like anyway. Those are my locks, Jaden McDaniels and Kevin Durant. If you looking for some prop locks in for the games tonight. In other news here, folks, Dwight Howard is being inducted into the Magic Hall of Fame. I think this is definitely long overdue. He should have, the first year he retired, he should have been inducted into the Magic Hall of Fame. I've been saying for years he's the best player in Orlando Magic history. Everybody's going to say, oh, Shaq, it's Shaq, man. He played there for 4 years. Stop it, y'all. Stop. And he left the team in the middle of the night. It's not Shaq. It's Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard got that team to the finals, and Dwight Howard didn't have a Penny Hardaway. That whole team was about Dwight. And if Kobe and the Lakers didn't get there, Dwight was going to win an NBA championship. He just ran into Kobe, a pissed off Kobe at that, because he just coming off of getting absolutely smoked by the Celtics. Was maybe we'll talk about that later, because I don't get how Kobe's image gets so unblemished as far as these finals runs. And like y'all, like that series wasn't close against the Boston Celtics in 08. Like they killed him. And if it wasn't for Ron Artest and Paul Gasol and all the injuries that the Celtics had, they would have killed him again in 2010. But that's a whole nother topic for another day. In between that, Dwight Howard got the Orlando Magic to NBA Finals, getting inducted into their Hall of Fame. Like I said, I think clearly their best player in organization history. Kyra, what's your thoughts on Dwight Howard getting inducted into the Magic Hall of Fame or Ring of Honor, whatever they want to call it?
Yeah, man. I got a lot of like love in my heart for like Orlando Magic Dwight Howard.
Yeah,
Man.
yeah,
So
yeah.
there's a like okay, so Rudy Gobert is the last center to win defensive. Well, Rudy Gobert, Marc Gasol, those are the last guys to win defensive player of the year, right? Centers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So let me tell y'all, man, Dwight in Orlando, like he's the one. He's really the one that made that team, that '08 USA team. Like, all right, hey, y'all chill out, bro. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
because you couldn't score, you couldn't do nothing. Like Dwight Howard is, to me, the second most athletic player that we've ever seen behind LeBron James.
Yeah.
It was that crazy. He was that crazy. Like, I mean, and he was a super slept on number one pick too, because I feel like it really wasn't that much buzz for a kid coming out of high school. You know,
they were barely picking between him and Emeka Okafor.
Right. So, and then all of a sudden, it's just like, man, what is this man child on the floor? Like, what are these shoulders? What are these, like, why can't nobody, like, and he didn't really have an offensive game. Like, he had a little baby hook.
Yeah, he got that baby hook at the end of his Magic time.
At the end, yeah, he had that little baby hook, man, but when I talk about putting dudes in the rim, like blocking shots, like, I feel like dude was literally jumping over the backboard. At that time, and over that D12,
yeah,
that dude was crazy. Yeah, shout out Dwight Howard. He's definitely more of a Magic legend than Shaq. I mean, that's kind of a Magic. Shaq is kind of like a mythical creature, I guess. You know, there's like a time period. You know, you know, they you know, I think they would have remembered him a lot more if he had went to another finals, and they didn't cheat them out of beating the Bulls that one year. But
if they didn't get swept, I think he was only there 4 years. 3 out of the 4 years they got swept in the playoffs.
Yeah.
To lose.
So
never mind. Yeah, no, it was 3 out of 3 because the first year they didn't make it. All 3 years we went to the playoffs, it ended in a sweep, including the finals. So, yes, yeah, Dwight Howard is definitely best Orlando Magic.
Yeah. Yeah, good. Shout out Dwight Howard, man. Stay off social media, but shout out Dwight Howard.
Stay off social media and stay away from, just stay away from what you need to stay away from, man.
Stay out of Thailand,
Hey, man, your off-the-court stuff is ruining, because in that 3-year stretch, he won 3 Defensive Players of the Year. The first year he won it in 2009, he averaged 21 and 14 with 3 blocks. The second year he averaged 20 and 14. The next year he averaged 23 and 14. Like, come on, what are we talking about? This is one of the best players. I was so mad that they put Anthony Davis on the top 75 over Dwight Howard. It honestly made 0 sense, because they tried to talk about what Anthony Davis won the ring. Dwight was on the team when Anthony Davis won the ring. Matter of fact, they haven't won since they got rid of Dwight Howard. So, like, I don't get it, man. I don't know why the disrespect comes in. I guess it's the off the court stuff, but Dwight Howard, for that Orlando Magic run from about 2011, from 04 when he got drafted to 2011, I haven't seen many big men in the league ever better than him. If you're just going off of that stretch, a peak, there's not been many big men in the league. Hey. Well, it's Friday, so we're just going to say it. I'm taking Dwight over Patrick Ewing and stuff, man. Y'all always want to put these random dudes over. Give me Dwight. Dwight is killing Patrick Ewing. Like, I don't know, y'all love putting these nostalgic guys up and putting them in a place, and, oh, man, they weren't as good as this. Dwight would have murdered Patrick Ewing. What are we talking about, man?
Like actually abused them. Y'all don't understand. Like, I'm talking about, go watch some videos about Dwight Howard and dudes going up in the paint against Dwight. Prime Dwight. Yeah, man.
He turned Bron to a jump shooter, man. Bron wasn't even going in there. Bron had to say, hey, let me get this mid-range tight.
Pockets, man.
Yeah, every time. All of them. Everybody. You're going to the ground after that. Even if it's a block, you're falling because he's too strong. If he blocks the shot, you're heading to the ground. That's why Shaq's hated him all this time, because Shaq is that's the one person that was giving Shaq a run for his money. Of course, the Superman stuff and all that, but as far as just being so physically dominant that there's nothing you can do, And we got spoiled because we saw Shaq, and then we saw Dwight Howard come right after that, right while Shaq is towards the end of his run, that we thought this is just how centers are. Well, we haven't seen one since then. Matter of fact, it got so bad that Rudy Gobert's got 4 Defensive Player of the Year. Absolutely atrocious. We should never see something like that. I don't know what the NBA was doing. I don't know who had pictures on somebody who was holding something over. I don't know if we need another treaty with France or something, but the fact that this man got 4 Defensive Player of the Years is blasphemous, and I hate that he's even going to be mentioned in that conversation for top defenders of all time, because clearly he can't be, because we watch what happens to him in the playoffs every year. But shout out to Dwight Howard, man. Shout out to Dwight. One of my favorite players of all time. Like you said, that Orlando Magic run was unmatched in my opinion, because he really got a good team. They were good, but I mean, it was a bunch of, 12, 13 points a game type scores going to the finals and smoking Bron and smoking the Celtics. And the Hawks were good back there with Josh Smith and Joe Johnson, all them boys. So he's definitely had some runs out there in Orlando. Shout out to Dwight for finally getting into the Ring of Honor. Want to go to something we kind of mentioned earlier in hour number 1. Los Angeles Lakers played the Knicks last night, 113-109 victory for the Lakers. Luka and new look Lakers and LeBron all looking really good right now. JJ Redick's looking good as a coach right now. But there was other headlines from Stephen A. going over and getting confronted by LeBron James during the timeout. LeBron goes up to him, and you can look at the clip. It's viral on everything, y'all. You should be able to look it up on Instagram. Saying, hey, he said, I'm going to tell you one time, bro, don't put my son into any of this stuff. Leave my son out of it. And that was it. That's all the words he said. Now, that obviously, we saw Stephen A. just look at him and sit right back down in the seat. That says a lot. I don't care what he says. I'm not going to have a conversation or whatever. You said yes, sir, and sat down in the seat. I don't want to hear that. Second of all, why don't you just leave Bronny out of it, bro? He didn't even mention all the stuff. He's really taking the place, and a lot of people haven't said it, but Stephen A. is almost taking the place as the LeBron hater since Skip Bayless is no longer on TV. LeBron went for 50,000 points. I think that was Monday or Tuesday. He went over the 50,000 point mark, which is absolutely ridiculous. Just look at other people's all-time scoring. Some of the best scorers you ever thought of, and look at how many points they have all time, and then think about 50,000, how far that is away. Absolutely ridiculous to be at 50,000. But he gets that. As soon as they bring it up on First Take, first words come out of Stephen A.'s mouth. Well, he's no Michael Jordan. I know I always got Michael Jordan. Why are you talking about Michael Jordan? Like, bro, what are y'all talking about? This is what Channing Frye was trying to tell y'all. We can't even have a conversation without somebody saying Kobe and Michael Jordan. And the Kobe one is just crazy. I've already talked about it on the show, and we'll have the whole summer to keep talking about it. The Kobe one is just crazy. Can we leave Kobe out of this conversation, y'all? Before this man died, rest in peace to Kobe, one of the greatest to ever play. Y'all had him like top 8 all time. He dies, now he's number 2 behind Michael Jordan. How in the world, in any world, could Kobe be in front of Kareem? Forget LeBron. Let's leave LeBron out of this. He's still playing. How in the world could Kobe be in front of Kareem as an all-time player? Like, what are we talking about? The Michael Jordan thing, all right, cool. You just picking preference, or even if you want to say peak. If you say Michael Jordan is peak, you look at the accolades, you can't beat that. 6 finals MVPs, 10 scoring titles. But dude played 11 seasons because he couldn't stop smoking cigars, couldn't stop gambling, couldn't stop drinking. So he only played 11 seasons. He had to retire twice. LeBron went through the whole thing, no retirement, no breaks, no missing a whole season. And somehow he gets points taken off of him for that, for being able to do that, because he went to too many finals when they built super teams. Michael Jordan, like I've said all the time, he was right. Whoever you pick as your GOAT is on you. Why I pick LeBron as the GOAT is because Michael Jordan did it against Jeff Hornacek twice. Michael Jordan did it against Danny Ainge on the Suns. Michael Jordan did it against Clyde Drexler, probably the best player he played in this whole finals run if you're talking about his matchup. Gary Payton was hurt, and I guess that's the best you could say. LeBron is playing the KD Warriors. LeBron is playing the Tim Duncan Spurs. Like, what are we talking about? But he gets confronted about that because he's been saying crazy stuff about LeBron. He said crazy stuff about Bronny. Like, I think LeBron should have been more like Carmelo Anthony as a father. Like, and then you act like you don't say stuff like that and want to play the victim. Like, I don't know what this guy's talking about. You can't say wild stuff like that. Like, he should be more like Carmelo as a dad and expect him to not say nothing. Like, what do you expect him to say? Just, oh, hey, Stephen A., what's up? So he confronted him, and Stephen A. tried to get on there and cop please this morning on First Take. But obviously, we know the real. Stephen A. acts like we don't have the film. And like I said, now number 1, I'm not trying to bag on Stephen A. He's at the top of what we do here, the top of the sports market. So whether you agree with him or disagree with him, he's the highest paid person in the sports media market. So you got to respect that. But do I agree with his takes? Not even a little bit. And the Bronny thing I don't agree with whatsoever, or the LeBron stuff. What was your thoughts when you seen the viral clip, Kyrell, of Bron coming up and checking Stephen A. and then him sitting down like the teacher said you need to raise your hand first?
Oh man, I was shocked actually. You know, I thought Stephen A. was probably on Bron's no contact list. You know, I didn't think he would even acknowledge him honestly. But
Facts.
you know, since he did, it was definitely necessary. Like, oh, Bron, I'm begging you, there's a father. Boy, he don't even got kids.
Stop. He got 2 kids.
Hey,
he got 2
he
daughters. He
tripping.
just keep them out the way.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought, well, anyway, yeah, as a father, it's crazy.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
like,
it's super
and
crazy.
then, like, just talking about Bronny, period. Bronny was first of all, I would have, hey, who was the number 1 pick in the draft right now, quick?
Exactly.
Like, you know what I'm saying? You know, exactly.
Whatever.
You know what I'm saying? Like, can't nobody tell you who the top, can't nobody tell you who the top 10 picks in last year's draft was, because all we talk about is the number 55 pick. And the fact that, he gets minutes in blowout games, or the fact that he got torched by Tyrese Maxey because his new coach put him in to go stop an all-star. You
Straight
know,
off
like,
a plane.
he's a 55th pick. Why are we talking about it? We only talk about him because saying Bron's name gets y'all ratings. It's a reason last week y'all had Kai Cenat on having the GOAT debate instead of talking about Shea dropping 44, somebody else dropped 50 that week, but you got Kai talking
Cade
about
had 40 the night before.
Yeah, Jordan versus Bron. You know what I'm saying? You know, shout out Kai Cenat, man. But hey, it's clearly y'all been running this, y'all been milking Bron's name for way too long, and now you're dragging his son into it and using it to criticize Bron. I'm not saying, I see all these people, we can't criticize Bronny now. No, we can't criticize Bronny now. No, you can't. He's a 55th pick. Talk about somebody else. Like, what do y'all mean? Like, there's literally bums that win the lottery that aren't doing anything. And y'all don't even know their names.
Not at all.
Y'all don't even know their names. Like, come on. I didn't know who the number 1 pick was until Christmas. I thought it was I thought it was Koulibaly or Sarr. One of the two.
Yeah, Sarr.
They said exactly what I said. Who? Who? What? What is that? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I didn't even know how to say his name.
Talk about Bronny. Yeah, I only know how to say it because of Gillis Arena, and they was talking about, man. They were like, man, how you say it? And it was like, it's bad. But why are we talking about the number 55 pick in the draft? He went exactly. And, you know, maybe he shouldn't have got drafted. Maybe he did get drafted because he's Bron's son. But who cares? It's a 55th pick. At that late, that's what happens. You got connections, you're getting drafted. It ain't based off of merit. They don't care. It's a million hoopers out here, man. A million. And then he playing a developmental league. And then he got out there and he averaging like 22.
Yeah, right? He's smoking them in the G League.
He's smoking them. And what are y'all talking about? So you can't say you can't hoop. So now that pick is justified. To me, if I draft the 55th pick in the draft, you know, and he's in the G League averaging, you know, leading the team or whatever and scoring or whatever, come on, dude. That's a good pick. The developmental league. That's a good pick at 55. A lot of 55. Your cousin was a 55th pick a couple years ago.
Hey,
where he at?
Man. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I guarantee you, I'm on team. You know, it's baffling. And Stephen A. know he milking that man's name for everything, man. That last week, I love to see Kai getting his time to be on, you know, getting a celebrity, man. But why are we talking about the GOAT debate? I don't want to hear about Jordan.
In the middle of March. Like, what are we talking about, bro?
In the middle of March. Like, hang this Jordan stuff up, man. We caught y'all. Red-handed. Y'all was giving this man steals in the box score. He wasn't getting them.
Facts.
Like, y'all have mystified this man to the point that he can't be touched. And hey, LeBron is the GOAT. Okay, y'all ripped this man all the way up to this point in his career. He didn't have nobody. Jordan had nobody to go against. Y'all actually crowned Jordan as soon as he won a championship as the GOAT.
Over Kareem.
So I don't want to hear nothing about resumes. Over Kareem. 6'5",
Kareem got the best basketball resume from high school to the end of his NBA career of all time. It's not, and that ain't even close. We just talking about resume. It ain't close. He was leading scorer of all time for what, 40 years, 30 years until LeBron finally passed him. High school champion. They took Duncan out of college because he kept dunking on those pale guys so much that they took Duncan out of college. They made it illegal to dunk. Coming to the number one pick, wins a championship for the Bucks, who didn't win another one until Giannis came. Gets traded, goes to the Lakers, changes their franchise. Like, Kareem's got 6 MVPs. He's got 6 finals. Like, so why do we talk about these stats? Y'all only talk about them when it's convenient to boost up Jordan. I don't get it. But now we can't say, LeBron the leading scorer. Well, that don't matter. He played more years. Is it bad that he played more years? He didn't want to smoke cigars and drink cognac his whole career. He didn't want to stay out till 5 a.m. gambling. Y'all say, oh, man, LeBron too nice to these guys. Jordan going and gambling with the dudes he playing against in the playoffs the hours before the game starts. But he ain't cool with them.
Laughing.
He ain't cool with them. They said, oh, he was still being competitive because they gambled. It wasn't about friend. Like, bro, stop it, man. Y'all just got to stop this, man. Half of Michael Jordan's face is blacker than the other half. Let's stop talking about this dude, man. Let's talk about LeBron. Let's talk about these other guys in the league right now. Let's stop talking about him. Stop talking about Bronny. I'm looking at the top 10 picks right now. I haven't seen none of these people's names mentioned. Cody Williams doesn't play. He plays for the Jazz, and the Jazz are terrible. He doesn't play. Like, what are we talking about? Yeah. That dude from the Hornets Cody is Williams. Terrible. Like, let's talk Rashid Air from the number 1 pick. Nobody even talk about this guy. I'm looking at all these guys that don't even play. I've never heard one topic about him, about the number 1 pick. Not one topic.
Who was the top 5 picks?
Zachary, whatever, Hawks. Alex Sarr for the Wizards, one of the worst teams ever. Reed Shepherd for the Rockets, and I watch every Rockets game. Reed Shepherd's played like 4. Stephen Castle's been a good rookie. Probably going to win Rookie of the Year at 4 to the Spurs. Ron Holland, he's all right. Tidjane Saloon, however you say his name for the Hornets, he doesn't play. He's actually terrible. They're already saying they regret getting him as a pick. Donovan Clingan plays for the Trailblazers. Nobody talks about him. Rob Dillingham might be the best player in the top 10. He doesn't play. Zach Edey plays, but no one cares. Cody Williams does not play, and he was number 10. That's the top 10. Nobody talks about any of those guys. It's a segment every 2 days about Bronny. Oh, did you see Bronny got in? He took 3 shots, and he missed all 3. He sat for 46 minutes. He's supposed to come in and just start firing it off, and he just got off a flight because he's still playing in the G League. So he flew commercial back over here to the game, and he's supposed to come in and drop 30. Like, what are y'all? Y'all don't even be realistic with the expectations y'all hold him to or that y'all hold LeBron to. That's the thing that makes it so crazy. That's why Channing Frye was so right, and we had to come out here and talk about it, because the nostalgia of the NBA is killing this current NBA. Like you just said, they got on there and had a Jordan debate. Jordan had like 39, 9, and 9. Like, LaMelo dropped 35. But what do we talk about? Man, Michael Jordan, stop talking about Michael Jordan. And stop watching the Hornets versus the Trailblazers and saying, these guys just shoot too many threes. This ain't even basketball. Somebody pull up some Washington Bullets film from the 90s, please. Somebody pull up some Vancouver Grizzlies film from the 90s and tell me that looked like good basketball. Since all the basketball back then just happened to be so good, but they were scoring 80 points a game, but it was good ball. Like, I hate these same old tired arguments, man. They got to stop this. They got to stop. And in the summer, I'm really going in on y'all because there ain't nothing else to talk about. So we're going to debunk all this stuff. I'm going to bring live tape because I got tape now. They got NBA films. They got YouTube. They got all this stuff. We got the tape. You can't keep lying to us. Our whole childhood, you lied to us and said, everybody plays perfect. Man, they would have killed Michael Jordan, and then y'all only talk about the Pistons. Didn't he only play the Pistons for 2 years? What happened when he was winning? And one of those he lost. So all those times he was winning, where was that physicality? Was Jeff Hornacek knocking Michael Jordan over? Was Danny Ainge knocking Michael Jordan out of midair? Like, what is this super physical stuff y'all are talking about? And Scottie Pippen was the second best player in the league. Like, it's just too much, man. It's too much. We got plenty of time to talk about all this stuff because y'all boost the 90s and the 80s so much. Y'all boost Michael Jordan. Y'all boost Michael Jordan so much, y'all forgot about the other good players. Nobody talks about Kareem. Nobody even talk about Magic Johnson anymore. Y'all started talking about maybe Steph's better than Magic Johnson. Steph is never better. What are y'all talking about? How can Steph be better than Magic Johnson? Like, I'm convinced that y'all don't even watch basketball anymore. Y'all just sit up and talk about Michael Jordan. And I don't think y'all watched basketball back then either, especially Charles Barkley. He didn't watch basketball then or now. It's getting ridiculous.
They trying to put Steph in the top 5, man.
In the top, like, bro, what? The top 5? What are we talking about? He's got 1 Finals MVP. He's got 2 Finals MVP.
In the top 5.
You cannot.
You can't guard nobody else in the top 5.
You can't guard a soul in the top 5. And I heard people talking about, well, could they guard him? Absolutely. You think Michael Jordan can't guard Steph Curry?
Watch Kevin Love do it.
You think LeBron can't guard Mike? He did it. Matter of fact, we watched Kevin Love lock up Steph Curry, and for the final play. Like, what? Come on, man. Let's stop it. Why are we talking about this GOAT debate and all-time ranking stuff? Topic I seen come across on social media. Where do we rank Kevin Durant on our all-time list? I seen some people saying he's top 10. I seen some people saying he's not top 30 on the all-time ranking list. Now, I think the guys are kind of taking this out of control. I don't have Kevin Durant in my top 10 if we're talking about overall basketball resumes, how I rank my top 10, because it's the whole basketball resume. We're talking about just pure score or just hooper. Kevin Durant might be at the top of that list. But he doesn't take shots. He's been swept in the first round of the playoffs multiple times when he had expectations to win. So, like, not the, he was on a bad team or no, because his young up-and-coming team was good. I'm talking about the Brooklyn Nets. When you just about to beat Giannis to go to the finals, you come back the next year and you get swept in the first round. You don't win a game. I'm talking about getting swept in the first round last year against the Timberwolves. Like, stuff like that. Those are those things why I can't put him in the top 10. But I think he's somewhere in that 10 to 20 range, somewhere in there. He's still got 2 Finals MVPs. He's got an MVP. He's going to play basketball a long time, so he's going to be a top 10 scorer, maybe even the top 5 scorer of all time. So I say when it's all said and done, he'll be around that 10 to 20 range, somewhere up in there. What do you think about Kevin Durant as he finishes getting closer to the end of his career? Where will he rank? Because like I said, some people already got him in their top 10. I think they're smoking.
Man, KD, that's a tough one, bro. Because,
it is.
I got a lot of love for KD, but I just know he's cracking that. If he's going to be in the top 10, he might be 9 or 10, maybe. But it's a lot of guys that's going to have really good cases over him. Like, so I couldn't be mad if somebody left him out. He's probably going to finish with 30K, maybe. Right?
Yeah, he'll finish. Man, he might get to 35. Ain't no telling. Depending on how long he wants to play.
Yeah, he's going to be. I think, and I don't think he should go for that. I don't think he should try to cement himself as a top 10 player. I think it should be more like a AI, type of legend. He needs to go that route. Lean into that.
Yeah.
People can appreciate what you did and not really put you in them debates. Stay out of the debates, KD. Go be AI. You know what I'm saying? Everybody just love what you did for the game, type of player you were, and we go from there. But, yeah, I don't want to talk about no KD debates or top 10. Just leave. He's not. He can't be in there, bro.
No, he can't be. I mean, just off the top of my head, you think about guys like LeBron, Mike, Shaq, Kobe, Kareem. I mean, that's 5 right there. So is he better than 5 other guys in there? Can he even get over there? Can he even get in over Steph Curry? I don't think I can put KD in over Steph Curry. And I don't have Steph in my top 10. So if I don't got Steph in my top 10, I can't put him over there. We didn't even talk about the Tim Duncans, the Hakeem Olajuwons, the Larry Birds. Like we haven't even talked about guys like that. Like it starts getting scary.
Well, hold on, bro. Hold on, bro.
Okay, I mean I know he's
Steph in your top 10.
Okay, if I just got to run off real quick, this ain't even me just thinking about it, putting a lot of time in on this. LeBron, 1, Mike, 2, Kareem, 3, Magic, 4, Kobe, 5, Tim Duncan, 6, Hakeem Olajuwon, 7, Bill Russell, 8. Okay. Then you start getting tricky. You got the Wilt Chamberlains. You got the It's tough, man. I mean, you could put him maybe 10. What about 10? Because you still got people like Wilt Chamberlain. You still got I don't want to put Jokic there too early, man. Even though Jokic's resume is crazy, I don't want to put Jokic in there too early though, too prematurely. I feel like I'm leaving somebody out.
I don't care what y'all say about Jokic. I don't care. Resume or not, I'm not. Man, dude, no, absolutely not. No.
No, I get it. Yeah, okay, so Steph can be top 10. I'll put him at 10, just to be safe. Let's put him at 10. Just because, I mean, Wilt and Bill Russell was playing against mailmen and stuff, so I get it. They were playing against actual real politicians, not even a joke, actual fact. Dudes that were in politics also played in the NBA part-time, so that's not even a joke. But, yeah, I put Steph in there. I put Steph in there at 10, man. I guess, he got 4 rings. He got a couple MVPs. I can't put Kevin Durant in front of him. So Kevin Durant can't be top 10 there. So
man, KD don't got you ain't got no rings. So what's up there? That stuff don't count. Dude, you literally ruined.
I mean, I get it, man. He did, but I'm gonna count them because at least he won Finals MVP in doing it. So okay, it's like okay, I'll count them. They're at a different discount than what I count these other dudes was, because Hakeem got 2, but I put Hakeem's 2 way higher than I put Kevin Durant's 2. That's why I got to put Hakeem in there. But you want to throw Steph in on the back half of that. I left out Larry Bird in there. Larry Bird is definitely a top 10 player in my estimation. But if you want to put Steph over Larry, then okay, that's cool. That's cool. You can put Steph in there over Larry. Yeah. I think those are the guys, but I don't have him cracking the top 5. I mean, I barely got Kobe cracking my top 5. And I know you Kobe fans going to be mad about that, but man, I barely got Kobe cracking my top 5. He's top 5, he's number 5. And it really ain't that because I should put Tim Duncan there over him. Go ahead.
Kobe, man. Can we get on Kobe a little bit? Just a little bit.
Go ahead.
Okay. I want y'all to understand something. All you Kobe fans is listening, bro. The debate between Bron and Kobe was over in 2011. Before 2011, it was over. Okay? Like, before this man won a championship, the debate was over. Before he lost, like, he didn't need no championships to pass Kobe. It was over. He was a better player. We watched him play head to head as the 2 guys, as the NBA marketed 2 guys, the puppets. Y'all probably don't even remember the puppet era. Yeah. Okay? When that was going on, the debate was over. Bron with the fro was killing.
Oh, man.
Killing Kobe. Okay? Kobe was still Kobe, to be respected. But, bro, Kobe wasn't the best player in the league. I don't know when. Maybe for a year. Maybe 2 years. You cannot, I don't know, I get it, bro. We have a lot of, emotional attachment to Kobe because he's tough, tough mentally and all this other stuff, and he passed. I get it. But I need y'all to understand what happened when this man passed. Okay? A lot of things got bloviated. All right?
Yeah.
A lot. All right? There's no point. There's no reason to lie about who this man was. Okay? We don't got to do that. He's great where he's at. You don't got to throw him up against Bron. It's going to get ugly every time. Every time you want to talk about all this other stuff, all this pretty stuff, bro. First of all, Bron, this is why I think Bron to go. Y'all can talk how y'all want to about jump shots and all this, the beautiful game and all this. They can't guard Bron.
No.
They cannot. If they would have had to guard Bron in Game 6 of them Eastern Conference Finals or whatever it was, and they played Boston,
come on,
their shoulders would have got caved in. I mean, their chest would have got caved in. Simple as that. All layups. Layups. He wouldn't have had to shoot a jump shot. He's running them over. Michael Jordan and Kobe, they were string beans, man. At the end of the day, they were string beans. And y'all can talk all this tough stuff, about Kobe this and Mike this, Killers this, speak this. I don't want to hear it. I watched Bron hit like 3 game winners and then like one. I'm not trying to hear it. That's the greatest.
Bron got errors. He's got errors in his game.
Errors.
Like we can talk about the first Cleveland, Miami. LeBron is his own thing. His second time in Cleveland is definitely his own thing. Probably the best player we've maybe ever seen. And then Lakers, LeBron. He's not winning a bunch of championships or going to the finals every year, so y'all acting like what he's doing. Bro, like, he's 40 right now, so that means 2 years ago in 2022, he was 38. He averaged 30. He averaged 30. That is crazy, bro. We're talking about a dude that averaged 30 in 2007, also averaged 30 in 2022. Like, this is it's wild. 2009 LeBron is the best player. Yeah. 2009 LeBron is the best player I've ever seen. Yeah, when he came out with the stash, he had the ugly South Oak Cliff, not the part where the black people stay, the other part of Oak Cliff. He had that mustache going on. And he came out there and was killing y'all. They don't know about mask, LeBron. They don't know about Bron when he didn't know what to do with his hair. Like that 2009 LeBron is the best basketball player I've ever seen in my life. You'll say, well, he didn't win the finals. He didn't win finals.
That's the most athletic person I've ever seen.
That's the most athletic person to ever walk Earth. 2009 LeBron. To ever be on this planet Earth. This man's head, where his chin was above the rim. And all this jump shoot stuff, like, that's why I like that we have stats. People say, you always want to bring up stats. They're there for a reason, so we can know what happened. Because if not, we'll do like the 90s, where y'all just say it was physical. And then we look at the film, we're like, bro, what happened? Didn't nobody get hit? Didn't nobody, y'all will watch one play out of a month and say, man, the league was physical, man. The league was physical. And then the whole rest of the month, I'm watching Michael Jordan walk to the basket untouched. Man, dudes know how to think the game back then, man. It was a whole different game. I'm just looking at y'all throw the ball into the post. See, now we got film and stats, so y'all can't keep lying to us. Because my whole childhood, y'all got to lie. We're taking back those lies now. You can't keep lying over and over and saying how physical stuff was and saying how smart these guys was and all this random stuff. I just say Tim Hardaway, Sr., go on Gilbert Arenas podcast and say, nah, you see how I didn't name LeBron? LeBron ain't those guys that can I'm not giving him the ball in the last minutes. But yeah, he's got the most game winners. But yet he went to the finals 10 years in a row. Like
a Skip, a lot of this stuff is Skip fault too, man. I don't know how you let Skip get away with this. This whole Bron's not clutch.
Yeah, he did.
Bron's
he
not
really
clutch.
drove that narrative. And it's been clutch.
He has the most game winners, and it's not even like he's not even taking the most.
No,
he's not even taking the most. He's more efficient.
He's literally made more game winners than Mike and Kobe. And he's also taken like 10 to 15 less game winners than Mike and Kobe. We talk about last 2 minutes. He's got better efficiency. He's got better numbers. He averages more. He scores more. Final 2 minutes. You talk about clutch numbers, final 5 minutes, when the game is within 5 points or less, he's got more money. He's got more numbers than them at that. Now, he's literally better at every single stat, but they'll just be like, you're pulling up random stats. Well, because we don't want to go off of random memory. Y'all see Michael Jordan pushing that dude in his hip and throwing him on the ground and shooting and saying, see, I told you. And I don't even know what clip they pull up of Kobe because they can't do none of the finals ones because that was Pau Gasol making those shots. That was Robert Horry making those shots. So I don't know what we're talking. They'll talk about the Western Conference Finals against the Blazers. Like, that's it?
Ooh, Jacob.
that's all y'all got?
Man.
Go ahead.
If you think if Kobe played for the Heat, had that career, the career he had with the Heat, he would have been the same. He would have get the same level of notion that he gets.
No, not.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I think a lot of this has to do with he was a Laker because we just forget. Literally, when Shaq left, them years from that year to
till they got Pau.
09, 08.
Yeah, till they got Pau.
Yeah, man. Till they got Pau. Oh, he had Smush Parker. Go look at LeBron's team, man.
Yeah, LeBron's his whole first 10 years in Cleveland was Smush Parker. Like, what are we talking about? And then they say, man, look at this team Kobe won with. And they show Pau Gasol and Luke. I'm like, was Pau not cold? Was Lamar Odom not cold? Was Trevor Reason not cold? Was Andrew Bynum not cold? Was he not the second best center in the league behind Dwight? Did we forgot about that part?
You know what else is crazy? Real quick, man.
Go ahead. No,
Kobe,
you good.
He was the second best player behind Shaq, but he turned it on when he could. We've literally we've been trying to get Bron to be the second best player on his team for the last 6 years.
Yep.
Like the last 6, and it don't work. I don't even know if it's gonna work with Luka. That's how crazy it is, man.
Yeah, because every time Luka will do something, you look up and you're like, man, Luka had a good game. Oh dang, LeBron had 29 and 12, 8 assists.
Bro, right there.
6 for 15
numbers.
Especially that first stretch when Luka first got there. He was definitely outplaying Luka. He was like, man, y'all saying too much Luka stuff like I'm not Bron still. So let me go ahead and get 35 games in a row.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Like he cannot take a second back seat. That's how good he is. He literally wants to and he can't. Like the universe won't let him. I don't know.
Why should he? Anthony Davis wouldn't shoot the ball. At least Luka gonna shoot it. Anthony Davis wouldn't shoot. He was like he was one of the most inefficient players in the fourth quarters in the last 3 years. But LeBron don't want to. He's still taking all the shots. What was he supposed to just not shoot? When he shoots, he makes it. Maybe he should, I don't know, shoot the ball. And then why we don't count after, Kobe won in 2009, 2010, and he did have a great season that year, and I get that Kobe is still cold. We ain't saying it like Kobe not cold. What happened in those finals, y'all? Why do we act like we forget stuff? That's why we have to go to stats and to film. We look at the Game 7 when the Celtics had 3 of their main guys hurt. Rasheed Wallace started at center against 2 7-footers, and they won by 5 points because Pau Gasol had to get the game winning, because Ron Artest had to hit game winners, because they was locking Kobe just like they did in 08. Go watch the 08 finals.
Oh.
Kendrick Perkins said he's the only one to tell the truth. He said we was waiting until we could get to Kobe because it was so much easier than having to guard Bron. And you say, oh, that's just crazy. Maybe he just hating because he liked LeBron. Then you look at it, and Bron averaged like 35 against the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals when he was like 22 years old. Kobe's in his prime. He's 30-something. He averaged like 20 on horrible shooting. He shot terrible every game, and in Game 6 when they lost, they got blown out by 40. Like, what are we talking about right now? We act like this stuff just didn't happen. We just remember the good parts and then forget all these other random stuff and be like, well, LeBron lost to Dallas in 2011. Cool. You could put that against him. Go ahead and put that on his resume. Tell me what the other ones are. Bron's been to 10 finals. He's been favored in 2. The Dallas Mavericks series and when they beat the Miami Heat in 2020 in the bubble. The only 2 finals LeBron has ever been favored in. He's been a heavy underdog in every single other finals he's been to, including the Thunder. But people say he beat the Thunder because they was young. They was like an 8-point favorite every game because the Thunder was loaded.
Yep.
Because they all ended up being MVPs. Maybe the team was good.
Yeah, I'll say that with confidence. I'll say that with confidence, Jalen. Only team Michael Jordan and them that 72-10 Bulls would have beat is the 2011 Dallas Mavericks. It's like I can wholeheartedly tell you that. Like, I believe that 100%. He's only beating Dirk. He's not beating Spurs with Kawhi.
Man,
and
no.
Tim, and he's not beating none of them.
You're not beating Tim and Pop. They talking about, it was a tough 6-game series against Karl Malone, who was 37 at the time. And Karl Malone was killing them. Karl Malone was killing them. They always say that too. Like, Karl was smoking y'all. Do y'all think Tim is better than Karl? Okay, we know the answer to that. Like what are we talking about? Bron had to go against KD and the Warriors, bro. The ultimate super team to ever be put together. The only team I'll ever say will beat that Warriors team is probably Shaq and Kobe. That's it. And that's really just that's more of Shaq. It's not because of Kobe. It's more because they were going to have Zaza Pachulia trying to guard Shaq. So, obviously, the Lakers are going to win. But that's one of the best teams ever. That's the only one. And it ain't like Mike beat them either. So, like, when we talk about these all-time great teams, name me the all-time great team that Mike beat. Like, it's so many points we could bring up in this GOAT debate, man. But I'm going to ease up off y'all for today. It's a Feel Good Friday. We're out of time here today on the show, folks. Want to thank everybody for tuning in with us today. I gave y'all my props for the day. Go back and go look on the show. You can rewind this on YouTube. Go back and look at those props. I took the Jaden McDaniels over 21.5 points and assists, points, rebounds, and assists. I took Kevin Durant over 31.5 points and rebounds. So make sure you guys go in there, lock those in if you haven't already. Appreciate you guys jumping on the show. We'll be back here on Monday to talk more NBA news. NFL free agency right around the corner. NFL draft right around the corner. We got to talk about all of that. So we'll see you guys on Monday. Appreciate everybody for jumping on the show. Everybody have a great weekend.
Lighthouse Streaming, a full-scale media agency and your go-to source for all things audio and video. Is your church long overdue for audio and video upgrades? Call Lighthouse Streaming for a free consultation. Does your corporate or church event need audio or video production? Don't stress. Call the guys at Lighthouse Streaming. In business since 2017, Lighthouse Streaming has produced hundreds of live events and completed dozens of church and venue installations. Whatever your AV needs are, Lighthouse Streaming has you covered. Give them a call at 254-252-4206. That's 254-252-4206.